And we are live here on the Atturo Tire's Facebook page. If you are joining us for episode 5 of Tire Talk somewhere else other than the Atturo Tire's Facebook page after the fact, thank you for joining us. And if you want to watch us live next week, be sure to tune in 7 p.m. Central Time on the Atturo Tire's Facebook page every week on Thursdays. And you can check us out when we stream live and get to be part of the conversation. Enjoy that. Tire Talk is the show where we not only measure how long we've been in quarantine by the number of shows we've done, but by the length of Collin's hair, because he cannot get a haircut, and that's why I keep wearing a hat, because I look homeless. I did shave my half beard today, though, so that's good. This week, we are joined by Jeanette, who is the founder of Car Chix. Car Chix is the premier motorsports organization for women. Over the years, more and more women have been notably and honorably taking over a male-dominated industry in the aftermarket. Car Chix was founded by Jeanette in 2009 and launched in 2010 to recognize, inspire, and encourage women that are involved in or are interested in becoming involved in motorsports and the automotive aftermarket industry worldwide. Jeanette, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Welcome to quarantine day number. I lost count a long time ago.
Is there anything that I missed that you'd like to introduce yourself, introduce Car Chix to the viewers who are watching or listening?
I think you pretty much nailed that one, Matt. Thank you. That was an outstanding intro.
Well, I copied it straight from the website, so I hope so.
Perfect. We're gonna have to check the content on that.
Yeah, I'm not that good of a copywriter. I wish I was, but I'm not that good. I can read a script though. So
the only thing I was just real fast is that the Crank It Media marketing stuff that you do, you know.
Oh, sure. So
really cool too.
Sure. So I actually, in addition to Car Chix, I actually own a second company called Crank It Media, which is an internet marketing company where we specialize in internet marketing, social media, website design. Most of our clients are in the motorsports, automotive, and entertainment industries. And that was started about a year after Car Chix started. So going strong, year 9 in that, and year 10 for Car Chix.
So was that kind of inspired by Car Chix after you kind of got more out there meeting these people and you kind of saw a need for these people in motorsports who needed help? Maybe they're a really good racer, really involved in the kind of hands-on part, but had struggle like promoting themselves maybe on social media or kind of having that whole image like together?
Sure. So interestingly enough, it kind of was, but what had happened is that, so we got into social media very early on, and we started utilizing social media to grow our following before there were Facebook ads, before you could buy likes, before you could buy followers, before anyone actually accepted social media as a way to advertise and broadcast to people. And so what started happening was people started seeing Car Chix started we have 5,000, 10,000, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 followers. And people are like, wow, this is amazing. Can you help me do what you did to Car Chix to my company? And it's like, okay, well, what do you do? Like, well, we own a motorsports company, or we own an automotive repair shop, or we own a machine tool company. Or I had this guy approach me that he's like, hey, I just bought a music venue. I want you to come in and handle all of our marketing. And I was like, man, I don't know anything about music. He's like, me either, kid, let's do it. And so we actually, just using social media, have sold out like 99% of his concerts in the last like 3 or 4 years. So that's how Crank It Media got started, was because so many people started asking us to do what we were doing for ourselves, to do it for them. So then that branched off into the second company.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who are really good at what they do and are really good at maybe something like, you're a really good repair shop, you're really good this, you're really good that, and you have a very niche skill set. And it's great. You could be the best you can be possibly at that job. But if you suck at social media, if you suck at marketing and like all that kind of stuff. What's up, Joe?
And I was like, communicating, right?
Yeah.
Telling your story.
If you can't get the word out about what you do, it's the same reason you go to a repair shop and typically the guys working in the shop aren't the person at the desk, because a lot of the time typically the repair shop people aren't the best at conveying with the customer,
right?
And that's
they're not really good at people skills.
Yeah, and that's not a stereotype. It's not. I've met plenty of mechanics who are great communicators and great at doing everything, but for the most part, they need somebody else to help be that kind of in front, the face of the brand.
And not just so much mechanics, but like even the motorsports on that side of the things, like drivers, race teams, they do so much work and they are so bad at marketing sometimes. I'm like, you guys let all this go to waste. Like nobody ever sees it because you're so busy doing the work, you know?
Right. And it's hard to do everything. It's hard to do all. Like, say you're a professional race car driver. So now you have to worry about, getting the car ready, getting, driving, doing the interviews, do this, that, still do your social media, still do your marketing, still reach out to marketing partners. And then also, you still have to race. And then, but these people are still human beings. They also still have a life that they have to come home to. They still have family. You can't, it's hard to be the jack of all trades. You know what I mean? You can't do it all. And so to wear so many hats, you stretch yourself thin. So it's important to have a team that you can work with. And so Cranky Media, we are like part of the team. So let us handle this aspect for you so that you can focus on what you need to do to, in essence, make money.
And also like credibility and networking wise too. I know you've done, PRI, you're, big member, you've done a couple shows out there and panels, like even with Jesse Combs and stuff when you were and stuff, like, things like that. So I think you definitely have a lot of better stories and lessons you've taught to people.
Did we lose Jeanette?
I probably just froze. All right.
Well, we'll get her back here in a second. I think we might have lost her on the stream here, but I'll just continue on the topic of marketing and I think it's important. A lot of people, because like you think about all these racers, and we'll go back to that because I think it is important, especially when you go out in King of the Hammers and see a lot of these teams that potentially. Wow, look, now we look all goofy because she's gone. We'll figure out. Sorry, excuse technical difficulties, guys, because now I'm being exposed on how I set up my live streams. I think the difficulty with those teams is PR. Having a PR person is nothing new.
And she's back.
Oh, are we back?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Having a PR, I was talking about the fact of, so you're talking how all this is a full-time job and it's hard to do social media. And like PR is nothing new. All these teams, a lot of the big teams had a PR person, but social media is just one more thing. That was already a full-time job. And now you're asking this PR person, hey, can you do this for me on top of all that other stuff, setting up interviews and this and that. And it's just, it doesn't necessarily mesh into the same skill set sometimes.
Right. And, and again, it's a whole nother job, and to keep asking, like, you have one marketing person that does like, the traditional marketing. Now you have to introduce social media. And like, a lot of times people early on would get confused that social media was the only marketing they needed to do. And it's like, no, social media is just, I would actually compare it to like a wheel, right? And there's all these different things that make that wheel roll. And one of them is social media. And it needs to be part of a program to work,
Yes, it's definitely, it's a pillar. It's a pillar of marketing. Like and it doesn't work without it. You need to do it, but it's not enough to stand on its own. You need to, you need them to work together, traditional media and social media at the same time.
Exactly.
Definitely an augmentation of it, and later on we'll talk about like events and stuff like that. But I think that's kind of like, an outreach of that.
And I remember early on, like, years ago, people were like, oh, I don't need that social media stuff. None of my people are on there. Like, everyone's on some form of social media. There's so many different ways to target people. There's so many different ways to like engage with somebody. Like I'm trying, like, everyone's fighting for attention pretty much. And, social media should be a huge part of anyone's business plan. I can't think of a business that doesn't need it.
Yeah, and
that personal
to jump in for a second here, as I see more and more people rolling in here to the stream, we are giving away a Atturo Tires watch tonight as part of the stream. That will be towards the end of the show, so stay tuned in for that, or be sure you come back towards the end for a chance to win this beautiful timepiece here. These are pretty limited edition. We do sell them on our gear store. We do have a few left.
What is it? The MT treads, I think, right?
Yeah, it's the MT treads. My camera's just not, my webcam's just not going to focus on that. But it's great. I will say, you will need to put a new battery in it, unfortunately. So
battery's not included.
Well, batteries are included. Dead batteries are included. Some of these may have been sitting on the shelf for a little bit, but
that is actually a really cool watch. I like the case.
It is. It comes with this case is included, this nice hard case. So we'll choose somebody. We'll do trivia or something fun at the end of the show. So stay tuned for that. And as always, I'll pick out a few people from the comments tomorrow, and I'll send you a private message on Facebook. So I know sometimes, like, if we're not friends, my private messages won't come up. So if you watched today, be sure to keep an eye on your message requests, because I send out usually messages to 3 or 4 people who commented on the stream, and I'll send you a little Atturo Tire swag pack. So be sure to comment and post questions and all that stuff in the comment section for a chance to win that too.
And watch out for Collin be sliding up in those DMs.
That's marketing. That's marketing.
It's just,
I just like, you have to watch to actually win the watch, you know. So
that's very funny. Is it time yet?
I haven't been out.
No one's been out. No one's been out. These you probably watch the progression of these shows, like, steadily go downhill.
I think it's
our boss is watching, and he's like, why did I sign off on this?
Right, I hate these guys.
Why did I sign off on agreeing to this plan?
But at least Joe's in the office.
Well, I'll be in the office. We'll both be in the office tomorrow, so we'll hear about it. All right, back to the show. Back to our regular scheduled programming. So, Jeanette, what got you kind of into the automotive industry, into the aftermarket? What kind of was the notable moment that you would say kind of put you in this position you are today, I guess?
Sure. So it's actually a funny story. I dropped out of high school sophomore year, and pretty much because I skipped school all the time, I was going to be like a super duper senior, and that just was not cool with me. And I don't recommend this, kids. I really don't. And so I ended up dropping
this is a cautionary tale. That's what this is.
Yeah. But what's kind of funny is I ended up starting online homeschool. So at the time, it was very taboo. It was not approved. Like, I had to get my teachers to sign off on this slip saying that I was going to do online homeschooling, meaning like this company was going to send me 4 books for math, 4 books for history, 4 books for English. If I did all 4, I passed, you know?
Yeah.
And so I ended up doing that, and I graduated early. And during that time, I started going to, just to get out of the house, the local community college in Milwaukee Community College. They offered an automotive repair course, like class, and they didn't require a high school diploma. So I started going there, and I was like I was one of 3 women, and well, I shouldn't say women. I was like 15, 16. I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started doing automotive repair, and part of the reason why is because we weren't very well off. And, you know, I had a car, and my parents are kind of upset about it. And they're like, how are you going to maintain this car, kid? I'm like, well, I'm going to do it myself. And I didn't know anything about it.
I'll show you.
And so
I was the same way.
yeah.
Whatever it was, probably was 16. I think it might have been 17 at the time. I bought like a 98 Mustang. That thing was the biggest pile of crap ever. It was terrible. I bought it. It was like, so there was so much wrong with it. I bought it for like $1,000.
Right.
And my mom, just God bless her, she's like, you know, scared. I'm under it in the garage. And granted, this time I was just, you know, YouTube mechanic. I'm gonna just learn this and read the Shilton manual and figure this all out myself. Yeah. And I'm like under the car doing like brakes or something on it. She goes, are the brakes gonna work? Are the brakes gonna work? I'm like, well, I hope so. I'm gonna go in reverse so I don't go through the garage at least. So we'll just be halfway down the street. But yeah, I was pretty much the same way.
We'll find out, Ma, you know. And then and so then I started working at Quick Lubes, and then I started working at Ma and Pa shops. Like the first one I worked at, like no one spoke English except for me and like one other person. So you learn a lot really fast, and I learned a lot of, you know, like naughty words. I probably And then I started working at dealerships. My first dealership was like a Dodge dealership, and then I went to a Chevy dealership, and then while I was there, we ended up all getting laid off right around the time the brand new Camaros came out, you know, Transformers. Like, boss got a new Camaro, you kids got to go. And we all got cut. And then I started working at Great Lakes Dragway. It was,
oh, wow.
Yeah. Everything always, you know, like life is weird. I mean, it's always up and down, and especially right now in these times, but at the end of the day, typically things always work out. for some reason or another. Like, you just got to stay positive, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's maybe the whole thing of everything happens for a reason is kind of true, but it's also what you make of the situation. Like, everything
Right.
happens for a reason,
What
but you
drives
also
you.
have to, you know, take advantage of whatever reason is given to you. If you don't take advantage of that, you're just going to end up who knows where. So, but
Right.
if you look at every challenge as an opportunity, that's going to get you farther ahead than if you look at every challenge as simply a challenge, or it's down on my luck, or everything happens to me because it just happens to me and I'm just an unlucky person.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Makes sense. Makes sense to me. And I'll tell you what, like, this quarantine thing, just like everybody else, it has been easy, and I've had like a couple moments, and now I'm just like, I'm just gonna embrace it. Like, it is what it is. Either I could sit here and be upset and nothing's gonna change for it, or you can, I don't know. Like, I learned how to garden. Well, I can't say I learned how to garden. Like, I put some seeds in the
You've learned
dirt
how
and
to
I put some
plant. You
water.
haven't successfully
Yeah.
executed the gardening
Well,
yet.
they started growing, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do with these things? And so now I have a garden outside, and it's like, God, this is a lot of work. I got to go out there. I got to weed. I got to water. Now I had to cover the thing because they're calling for a historic snowstorm or something. And it's like, it's work, man. But my house, I'm going to submit it to our city for, because they do like something where it's like, the yard of the year, which we won't get, but it'll be
Pretty cool.
probably most improved, because I've done more yard work in the last like 4 weeks than I have in the last 4 years. So
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
It's definitely time to do that housework that everyone's been putting off for inevitable years and months and years and years. And now it's like, well, I don't have an excuse now because I'm not busy. So I
Right.
mean, what am I gonna do?
Well, no, but there's some places like where you couldn't buy seeds or you couldn't do that or whatever and stuff.
Yeah, like out in Michigan, they really
It's like, what?
chomp down on that.
So I see Hector asked about the Trailblade Boss, and we just threw that link in there. If you're looking for sizing, that has all the specs in terms of width. The question of section width is often confused about, because section width is the width of the tire while on a rim, inflated, including the sidewall bulge, including like the bulge of the side. That's what the technical spec is for section width. So you have to make sure you're measuring everything exactly the same. So a lot of people say our tires seem to run narrower. That's because in our section width, it includes the sidewall. So the sidewalls are really aggressive on our tires and tend to poke out more. So it may appear that they run narrower, but it's just a different design and how it appears to look. So a lot of people kind of get confused by that. And your section width can actually change based on the rim you're running too. So they take that measurement on a certain size rim for each tire size. And I'm not technical enough to remember what they used for a 12.5, what the width rim they base that measurement off of. Maybe Joe knows. I don't know.
To your point, and kind of motorsports, that kind of ties back into it. We used to work with the driver racer when the Lucas Oil off-road racing, Cole Mamer, and he had the MTs he would race on the pro lights, and they would shave off the sidewalls, all the blades on the sidewalls, because of that, because of the extra width that it would add on to the vehicles, so they could pass like specs or whatever.
Yeah, so when you're comparing tires, you have to make sure you understand the spec you're comparing and how to measure it, because that's the biggest thing. And we talked about this a few weeks back regarding misapplications of rims and tire widths. So you have to make sure that do your proper research on how to fit a tire to a wheel before just looking at the numbers and saying, oh, well, these numbers all match up, so it should work. There's definitely a little bit more to it than that. So I think people need to make sure they do a little bit more than 5 minutes of research when they're trying to build out a package for themselves, especially online, because more and more people are shopping online, and a lot of these online retailers, whether it's not a lot of our authorized retailers, but there's other companies who are selling packages of wheels and tires, and they might not necessarily know what vehicle you have in terms of load rating. They might not necessarily be looking out for as much as proper applications in terms of wheels and tire specs. And it's just harder to communicate with an online retailer than if you were standing with somebody about what you want out of your vehicle. So I think the consumer has to make sure they're doing a little bit more education for themselves. So I hope you take a look at that link on our site, and that helps you out a little bit, including with what I just said.
Well, actually, just really quick, slightly actually. So, that the sidewall piece actually is not going to be included into the section with. So that's okay. I mean, because just the design of our tires. I mean, so when people measure them out, obviously they might be slightly off here and there. Some of the models are
But
a little bit
it
off.
does include the bulge when inflated, but not the actual
Not the
sidewall.
actual, yeah,
Okay.
the actual.
I was half
designs.
correct. That's why they don't let me work in the warranty
Well,
department.
no, that's why
because I would be-
communication's good, right? Communication's good, man. But the main thing that I guess the point you're trying to get to that is just the width of wheels, and sometimes people are stretching things out very far, and you're just going to ruin the performance on what you have, what you're using them for. And like with Jeanette, I know you work with a lot of like the the more sports stuff like Dodge Challengers and Chargers, Mustangs, and a lot more speed stuff.
We do a lot with my favorite tire, just for the record,
Okay.
is like small tire. I'm into drag racing. I like small tire drag radial.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I like X275.
been doing a lot of R&D on small tire drag radials lately. If anybody's curious about that, been doing a lot of research on that. There may or may not be something coming in the works. That's all I'm going to say in terms of future products. But been researching some stuff. We'll see. We'll see what actually makes it to consumers.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know, like we talked about doing something
for years.
Prior to COVID-19, and I do have strong hopes that eventually we will get to that light at the end of the tunnel, and we will be doing some testing on a tour.
I even wrote that in my dry erase board at work. I think Colin's seen
that one right there.
No, he's got two more at the office. It's like I swear that they multiply. I come in, there's more, and then there's like little mini ones he has too that are like magnet. It's frightening. I'm scared.
That's funny.
Send help. If I ever disappear, blame the whiteboards.
Right. It'll probably be written on one where you are.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, in terms of going from like the off road to the more street tires, a lot of people don't realize that we do offer two performance tires in the AZ800 and the AZ850. Originally geared towards, high performance street trucks, but apparently the Dodge Challenger and Charger owners of the world found us and realized that they fit, which unbeknownst to us was never even planned in terms of the fitments. And then one day we're just browsing Instagram and found on this forum thread, everyone's like, yeah, I've been running these Atturos on my Challenger, my Charger. They're great. And then everyone's like, yeah, me too. I found it. And I'm like, hey, you guys, that's not what you're supposed to use those for. Those are like for trucks. But I mean, if you want to do that, you do you. I'm not going to tell you how to do. You're buying our stuff. So, but just kidding. If you're using misapplications, like that's fine because those cars are lighter than trucks. But don't do misapplications, kids. So we see that more and more in terms of the AZ850. So we have been looking into potentially expanding into that market, expanding into the muscle car market, and kind of looking at how we can pair that, because Atturo, our whole brand is built off of trucks and SUVs. And it's how can we pair that muscle car market with what we already have going, and that's because you don't want to dilute your current brand image, because if you've built your brand image off this, you don't want to dilute yourself by doing something completely different. But from what I've seen and from what I've researched, I think it's a great pairing because all these people going to the track have trucks that they're towing their vehicles with. So if
some of them race trucks, they are full truck race days, and they draw in huge crowds and big turnouts. It's amazing.
So I think so. We got the truck tires, the trailer tires, potentially the in the future looking at working more sizes of the 850 into a muscle car segment. So we could be your whole setup for everything, every tire on your setup. That's going to be an Atturo. That's the goal right here. So we're looking into that. And I think it's a good pairing because it is still a specialty market in terms of like muscle car tires. That's not like just car tires. So I think moving into that will be a good fit. And I hope that people like that. So
I like it. As soon as we can get some tracks open here, we're going to make something happen.
Well, yeah, it's just mostly like the tires that people are already using them, thankfully. I mean, so they make them for trucks and they're using them for cars. I mean, so obviously can handle it most of the time.
Because I think that's what's great about the 850 is it's pretty durable in terms of what it can take, because it was designed to be on a truck. And I mean, excuse me, hold on. I have to make the required. Well, it must work really good on Challengers and Chargers because they weigh so much because they're boats. So you have to run a truck tire on it, or else you're gonna just wear down any car tire.
Can we talk about, like, isn't it crazy in the last, like, maybe like 5 years or so, maybe like 6 years, where all of a sudden it's Mopar or no car, and like, that's the coolest thing on the street. Everyone's got a
Well,
Challenger, a Charger, a Demon, a Hellcat, whatever. And
well,
it's like, I remember, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, I thought Mopar people were weird, you know?
what I think is interesting about that is like all these other companies, or at least Chevy and Ford, in terms of their muscle car offerings, have been very much kind of not radically, because it still looks like a Camaro, it looks like a Mustang, but massive kind of redesigns in terms of their styling. The Challengers and Chargers now, by and large, look the same as the Challengers and Chargers like 10 years ago. Like
Very similar.
they did
Yeah.
slightly different with the front and rear end, but it really looks like, so it's kind of funny how you are seeing such success. It's the pinnacle of, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Because
Can we talk about those guys that are still driving around with those bumper covers on the corner? What are those called? What are those called?
the splitter guards. Me and Joe saw a
Yeah.
guy like that the other day.
Yeah.
I see them all the time. And I swear, what was it? It was like a Kia Soul. It's like he had custom ones made just to look like one of those. I just saw that. I wish I would have got a picture of this guy.
Well,
But that's just for shipping these cars, right?
Yeah, that's just for shipping. And
Yeah.
they
Okay.
actually say there's been multiple things that have come out from like the higher ups in Mopar, because leaving those on actually damages your paint more, because like dirt and rocks gets between the splitter, because it's not like a snug fit. It gets between the guard and the splitter, and then it like moves, so it makes all these scratches on the inside. So these people are actually making it worse by leaving those on.
Wow. I remember like my couple years ago, my girlfriend Amy, she was saying she was upset because she threw hers away, and she wished she would have sold them on eBay, because apparently people are paying big money for them or something. Who knows? One man's trash, the other man's junk. I don't know. Or treasure.
Treasure.
Yeah.
So on the
That one too.
on the topic of tires and drag tires, and what do you look, besides just like a small tire radial, what do you want out of a tire that you're going to race on?
See, well, for me, I don't do too much racing. I do a lot of I have street cars. I take them on the racetrack, and the fastest I've ever been was like 11.2. But like in terms of my girls or my team, or the people that come and race with us, they're looking for performance. They want to make sure that tire is able to hook up, and then depending on, like, there's a lot of things that go into it. Like, the way you set up your suspension, the track prep. There's like the different tunes and everything. So it's a whole, how do I say? It's not just the tire. It's like a whole thing that goes into it, and about what you're trying to accomplish. So, I think it's pretty cool. Like, say, one of my favorite cars right now is David Reese. He has this gorgeous, it's called El Diablo 2.0. It's like a screwer blown Camaro. He just went, I think it was like 369 on 275 drag radials in the 8th mile. That's insane. And not to mention his car is like beautiful. It's like this chrome red wrap. I can't even describe, and no pictures ever do justice for that car. But it's amazing. It's pretty cool,
And a nice red.
Yeah, it's like this weird, like, deep chrome red. I can't even really describe it. I'm not sure if he still holds the record, but I know earlier this year, I believe it was in Bradenton, and we were there in January, where he broke like a world record or something. So that was pretty awesome. And then of course Stevie Fast, who doesn't love that guy? He's rocking, the radios or whatnot.
So a lot of these people who, at least that you work with on your team, is pretty much everybody trailering their car? Do people like the concept of having a tire they could drive to and from to the track if they wanted to?
It depends on the level of car. We do have a number of gals that actually do drive their cars everywhere. Again, one of my girlfriends, Amy, I think she has like this yellow Challenger, and she's the real deal, And I remember when she first got that car, and all of a sudden she just wants to go faster and faster and faster, and she's out there changing her tires, and here having her boyfriend hold her sandwich while she's changing them. She's pretty wild and pretty legit. And then she'll go on like these cruises and stuff, and And then, then you have these other things like, that are kind of crazy. That's not really, what these cars are intended to do, but they do them, like hot rod drag week, the power tours and
Oh,
stuff
I
like
love
that.
that. The power
Yeah,
tours where they're driving to and from tracks with the trailers behind them and stuff.
it's cool.
I love
That this year is gonna go right through our town.
yeah, there's
See that?
one they've done around here. They've done Route 66 in the past. They've
Mhm.
done Cordova in the past. It's been a while since they've done Great Lakes, hasn't it?
Well, they did Great Lakes, I believe, about 2 years ago, and I forget the exact schedule of tracks, but it falls on the weekend. Well, they had to reschedule it. Now it
Yeah.
falls on the weekend before Labor Day, and so it's going to be a direct shot through the Midwest again. So I think they're Michigan, Iowa. I believe they're going to 6-6. I don't know. I can't think of with all these schedule changes in the last two
Exactly
weeks.
right.
I can't even keep. And I used to be pretty good about it. I'm like, oh yeah, this event, this day, this location. Like I can't even keep track of it anymore.
Yeah, September, October is literally packed for us. I think for like there's multiple weekends in September, October where we have like 4 events on the
That
schedule. We got
everyone's adjusting over to
yeah, so we have to
around
decide
that.
like where we're
Yeah.
gonna be now because
And
everybody's on top of each other now with their
that's the
schedules.
problem. That's the problem because everyone is canceling or postpone. Like we just had to cancel one of our events yesterday, and so like one of our actual Car Chix races, which we
I
didn't want to
saw that.
do it, but
Yeah,
it's. I mean, we have to be
they have a
reasonable with
choice.
what is happening right now, and let's be realistic with these shelter in places. Just because the shelter in place gets lifted 5 days before the race doesn't mean it's like, woo,
That's
everything's
all, baby.
100% capacity, baby. Let's do it. Like it ain't gonna happen like that. I'm sorry. As much as I wish it would, it's not a realistic expectation. And so yes, you can postpone it, but then the problem is everyone's postponing, and so then they're going to have like come August, September, maybe even October, there's just going to be a crazy amount of events where I think, in my opinion, it's just going to dilute the spectators because now they have, which is great, they have all these different options, but it's all these awesome races.
Yeah,
So
they do.
we ultimately decided after a conversation was just like, you know what, we're canceling it. We'll have it again in 2021 when everything's iced out, and that's what we're going to do.
Well, and I think
So
the big thing a lot of these events are kind of looking at too is you base an event off of a certain expectation in terms of capacity, in terms of people attending, in order for
correct.
you to make your money. And because there's certain fixed costs involved to having any sort of event, and if you're going to have this and people aren't going to show up, you're going to lose more money than if you didn't have the event at all. So I think that's a big thing going through a lot of these event planners' minds right now is what is it going to be, even when this all opens up, is it going to be worth it to have our event at 25% capacity, 50% capacity? Like, is that going to be
Correct.
worth it for us to do all this? And then the added risk of maybe people saying, oh, well, I came to your event and then I got coronavirus, so I'm going to sue the crap out of you now because I came to your thing and you said it was safe and you had it. Now I'm sick and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And it's just a nightmare.
What interesting
Right.
question. Calendar. I know you always do a yearly calendar and stuff. How does that work out? Like, when do you plan it out? How early on? Like, how's that going to work this year? Or is it pictures of
Sure.
everybody from their house and stuff? Pretty fun.
So the Car Chix calendar is not affected by the coronavirus. I'm just going to go on record to say that we will hold that bad boy this year. It usually comes in about the end of September, early October.
Right on.
Due to what's happening, we'll probably at the end of September because there's nothing else really going on, right? And so what happens is it's called Joe, you're hilarious. And it's called the Women of Motorsports contest. It's a contest we hold every year, and for like women from all over the world will submit a family-friendly photo of themselves, and we'll put it up on our website, and people vote on it. And the girls with the top 12 girls with the most votes get invited to be exclusive Car Chix members, and they get featured in our calendar. And then we do like, we pick one of the girls to be on the cover, which that's always a big thing. Like, who's on the cover? And we don't tell anybody until like we're about to ship them out.
Yeah.
And then we have Car Chix pick where we'll pick a young lady or woman that, I just happen to like their picture. I was like, this is a cool, like this last year we picked Skylar Keeson, or
Yeah.
I'm gonna butcher her name. Skylar, I'm so sorry. But she is a junior dragster racer from Canada. and she staged this photo of her junior dragster out on the road with the cop writing her a ticket. I was like, that's it. That's our girl right there. That's our girl right there. And Atturo Tires actually sponsored one of our months. Thank you very much. I believe it was March.
I think it was March.
March. Yeah. It was very cool. Yeah.
We should have done this episode earlier, Joe. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, it was great. I really, and so what we do, like we have, we'll, we usually include like our sponsors that we already have for that year, but then we'll open it up to other people like, okay, we have X amount of months. Does someone want to get on? What month do they want? And, we pretty much try to work with everybody about what they want to do. So, but yeah, we've been doing it for 10 years and, it'll be interesting to see the pictures this year. There have been a lot of people I've seen, especially like being outside of Chicago, where they have ventured out about 1-2 o'clock in the morning and with their cars and went and took pictures downtown with no traffic.
Yeah, those are kind of cool though.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do that. If anyone wants to go.
I did it one day where I put the GoPro onto the Jeep and stuff and kind of drove around, and it was kind of cool, but it does look kind of creepy. It's like someone's gonna jump out. It's like nobody around. Like,
oh my god.
It's like on Batman side or something, man.
Oh wow. Yeah. It's definitely a very interesting time. And I live right off like a major highway, and so I mean, especially on the nice days, it's like all day just hot rods and cars going back and forth. And on Sunday I actually we backed up the pickup truck to the end of the driveway, sat in lawn chairs, drinking beer, dressed up like America. I had American sunglasses on, lays, and
see. The question is, did you have the sign? Did you have the sign out by the road that said "You honk, we drink"?
No, we had. Do you think Carol Baskin killed her husband? Honk if yes. No, just kidding. We didn't do that. I thought about it though. But like all day, people are like honking and waving and. I don't know. It's quarantine, man. There are no rules.
Man. Well, I saw today. Speaking of like people driving around, it was I think it was Santa Clara County in California has now banned those birthday parades, like how they're like people show up and like drive past your house like for your birthday because you can't have a party. They're like, no, you can't do that anymore because you're leaving your house and infecting people by driving around in your closed car. You're infecting everybody. I'm like,
That's like, really, dude?
That doesn't sound very logical. I mean, people aren't within 6 feet of me in my car. Like, I could have the windows up, and that doesn't seem like wrong. And it seems like we need to balance mental sanity with actual physical health. But I'm not gonna make that argument.
Yeah, I like the jokes where you see like those pumas or cougars or whatever, just like roaming the streets, lions or whatever, you know.
That's funny. I was seeing signs over here at a couple places where it's like, you know, hey, it's, you know, my son's birthday. He loves burnouts. And like people are just doing burnouts all day up and down the street. I'm like, oh, this is great. And I'm like, that's the coolest birthday ever if I've ever seen one.
You'll never forget that one, man.
Yeah, I'm sure the neighbors love that one.
That was actually one cool thing about events. Like the more events that we started doing, like, yeah, we do the off-road stuff too, but where it comes like performance things, we would jump into the burnout pits. And we did that for a couple of years, like with the light trucks, and that's just amazing, man. It's just so much fun.
It's fun.
Yeah. Fun. So do you, Jeanette, do you have a favorite event that you go to, like in the one that you look forward to personally, like in your kind of yearly schedule?
Yes.
So and it can't be SEMA because that's an easy cop-out answer. That's what everybody says.
I'm not gonna say SEMA. Hands down. Okay, there's two favorite events, but if I had to break it down because it's the same promoter, it's Lights Out, South Georgia Motorsports Park. It's usually Valentine's Day weekend, and it is like the Mardi Gras / Christmas / 4th of July of drag racing. If you've never been there before, you got to get your butt down there. They just had Lights Out 11, and I mean, you're literally there. It's like a week of drag racing, and it's like the fastest cars, not just in the country, in the world. Like people from Spain come there, people from Australia are shipping their cars and, you know, boats.
Do people camp out there and stuff? Or
like
Nice.
Nice. Well, when I go down there, like I'll live at the track for 11 days.
Nice.
Like it's like weird to be home after living.
Joe, are you taking notes over there?
That's
turn the whiteboard around. Turn the whiteboard around. The pocket whiteboard. There it is. The pocket whiteboard.
Like lights
But yeah.
out Valentine's Day weekend.
Lights out. Yeah,
You
lights
better
out.
get
Excuse for the
a lot of
missus.
chocolates for your girl that weekend, Joe.
Exactly.
Going to
Said
that.
excuse for the
You better
missus.
get 1-800-Flowers on the horn, sort from price high to low, and just pick whatever's the most expensive and get that
West-
There you
delivered.
go.
And you might be okay.
I spent our last Valentine's with our sales director George out in Vegas for that NADA show. It's like, this is awkward.
Oh, hold
I
on.
love
This
you,
is my
George.
public service announcement to all the dads out there. The Mother's Day gifts are not part of the homeschooling curriculum. So those handmade Mother's Day gifts will not be showing up for you this year. You
Right.
have been warned. It's this Sunday.
No, we're having a Mother's Day sale on the Car Chix website.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So you go to carchix.com, go to our store, and there's a promo code, and enter the promo code, and you get 20% off. And
Have a
I'll
link
try to
and
ship
share
it to you
that.
in time. Yeah,
Be some fast shipping, some Amazon Prime shipping.
right.
Ship,
Even
That's it.
Amazon's kind of slow right now.
Amazon slacking. Everybody, I shipped
Yeah.
something USPS 2-day priority like 2 weeks ago. It still hasn't gotten where it's going. Yeah,
It's a loss. We
everything's-
don't know.
Amazon no longer can get me my packages within 2 hours. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I live in a world that requires instant gratification. I'm gonna fall apart.
Well, I mean, prior to this happening, like being on the road so much, like the last thing I wanted to do was go to a store, period. And I'm literally like, I am Amazon Prime queen, dude. I had them delivering toilet paper to my house because I'm like, I ain't going for that either. You know,
Well,
and
yeah,
it's
why?
just, you just
Or-
don't,
or
like
they're
when you're home, it's like, you know, you're only home for 36 hours. I don't want to waste it at a store trying to find a parking spot. Yeah.
That's true. It seems like whenever we travel, we end up taking like 12 trips to Walmart because Joe always seems to forget things.
Jerky.
Imagine that. He didn't write it down on his erase board.
No, we don't have a dry erase board in the truck. I don't know how we're gonna fit one. Maybe as a big divider, so I can be on one side of it, and then Joe can have his notes and suffocate in the dry erase fumes on the other side.
That's awesome. We're giving him ideas. Try's gonna write that down. He's like, dry erase board for a truck.
Yeah,
Well,
Mobile.
I'll put him in the trailer. He can ride in the Jeep in the trailer. I'll just ride in the truck.
Actually, speaking of that, when you go to the tracks for racing and stuff, obviously you take the car, we just drive it out, or you can trailer it too. I guess that's the same thing. Because our dilemma now with our Jeep is just it's a little tight.
Well, that's because we've got a too narrow of a trailer, Joe. Because apparently, when I leave, you don't know how to use a tape measure.
Was it metric or how's it going?
Yeah. You're like, well, it should fit, and yeah, it fits with about a 1/4 inch clearance on each side of the wheel wells in the trailer. So,
Oh, jeez.
yeah, you did it.
Yeah.
It does fit, but does rub a little bit on the way in. I'll say that, but yeah, let's hope we don't have to go wider wheels on that one day, or I'm gonna have to get creative and build some ramps in there to go over the wheel arches.
You know what? Like, hopefully, when we do our photo shoot and all that, when like all this stuff kind of clears up with Jeanette, you know, we'll try to. Obviously, I'll figure out the logistics and stuff. It'd be nice to measure one of those cars into our trailer, see if it fits.
If it fits, it ships. I'm
Right.
all about it. I mean, it's there. Why don't we just pull it in? You know, I bought a golf cart last year, and I bought it because like I was at this event. It was 118 degrees, so I had the back of my trailer down, like ramp door down, and these guys are so like intoxicated. They come flying up the ramp door in their golf cart, like, yeah. And I was like, and my friend's like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that. I'm like, yeah, it fits. So literally like a week later, I went and bought a golf cart just because it would fit in my trailer.
It works.
Yeah, see, we don't
It
have,
works.
we can barely fit the Jeep in there. Because again, Joe didn't think that, hey, maybe it'd be nice to have a pit bike for these events or
Yeah,
something.
we do need something
Yeah.
like that eventually. Some kind of, something. Because walking's good too, but it just gets kind of like long
Walking's
distance.
good for you.
It gets long distance.
Walking is good for you. So, Jeanette, what was
Yeah.
what kind of inspired starting Car Chix as a organization? Was there like a defining moment that you can remember?
Well, it just kind of like transpired into something it was never really intended to be. Like I actually bought, I think it was like, I don't know, like 14, 15. I always wanted to open up like an all-girl garage, right? And I thought I had like this $1 million idea, and this is before they had the show or anything like
Turns
that.
out other people had the $1 million idea too.
Yeah. And I was like, but I was going to be really focused on the car wash. I was like, we'll get women in because women will trust women not to rip them off with their car. And then we'll get guys because they just want hot chicks to wash their car. It was like $1 million idea. Right. Like, and so, well, I didn't have any money. And so I bought a domain name, carchix.com, for like $7. Right. And I never did anything with it. I ended up going to college. Then I ended up working at Great Lakes Dragway. Still never did nothing with it. And I ended up meeting a couple girls that were racers, and they became my friends, and I really liked them. And all of a sudden, this horrible thing called winter comes up here, like, and it seems like it never leaves. And so we wanted to stay in touch, and so I launched like this really like nasty, cheap forum that crashed within a couple days, just so like we could like share pictures and photos and probably talk about hot guys or something. And unfortunately it crashed within a couple days because so many people were going on it, so many people were registering on it. We didn't have the server space to handle anything, and I didn't know anything about any of this stuff. And so it ends up crashing, and then within a couple days we released version 2.0, which was then hosted on my friend's server, and it was pretty much the same hideous thing except it was black and neon pink. So but it didn't crash. And like
it works.
yeah. And so more and more people just started going on it, and that's when forums were huge. You know, it was before Facebook was really a thing. It's like before YouTube and stuff. And then all of a sudden like this change just started to happen where I ended up redoing the whole website, so it was no longer necessarily a forum. It almost became like a media news platform where we started like featuring women and sharing stuff. And I think we kind of stayed ahead of the curve on that one, because then all of a sudden all the forums started plummeting because Facebook rolled out Facebook groups. And if I want to go talk trash to someone, I don't even need to log into Bob's website. I can just go right on Facebook and just let people know how I feel about things. You know, it still happens today. Imagine that. Yeah. And so
people
then
talking crap on the internet. Imagine that.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, some of it's kind of entertaining, but now some of it I'm just like, okay, Susie. Okay, Karen. Like I just like
Okay, Karen.
like, did you see the new emoji where it's like, I care, right?
Did you see the one we did with the tire?
I did. Someone did like what you guys did, except they gave it like the I want to speak to your manager haircut and named it care-n.
That's horrible.
I love it. I love it.
It's like this like drugs addict kind of Tiger King.
Oh, it's amazing. The creativity, some of the creativity that comes out of this quarantine situation is pretty like top notch.
It's very creative.
Right.
Yeah. So
Like-
what would you say in this journey of yours, who is or was your biggest inspiration within like the automotive industry?
Sure. So well, I had a couple. What's interesting is what really kind of like got me into working on cars was my sister, because she was a mechanic, and my sister's about 20 years older than me. Believe it or not, I think it was an accident, right? And let's just call a spade a spade. And so I remember I remember hanging out in her garage, and I was a teenager, and she had custody of me at one time, and I was in there smoking or something, and she'd come in there, and she's like, "What are you doing?" You know, I'm like, "Nothing." You know, she's like, "All right, well, hand me these tools." And she had like I don't know, like a Mitsubishi Colt or something, you know, and so that kind of inspired me, you know. And then it was like later on in life where I ended up meeting Jessie Combs, and like I didn't really know too much about her until I actually met her. And then it was after the fact I was like, wow, like she's pretty badass, like, you know, just being so young and the stuff that she's accomplished. And she was actually like just real humble and nice and everything. And I was like, oh, this is cool, you know. And you know, we did the very first Opportunity for Women in Motorsports seminar at PRI, and it was me, her, Jennifer Lefevre, and Lynn St. James. And so that was a pretty big deal. And what was neat is at the end, like we had the Car Chix calendars, and so I kind of gave each of the girls one of them, and with my card in it, just to be nice, I guess. Yeah. And she actually like emailed me and was like thanking me and said that she liked what I was doing, and you know, if I ever needed anything, I'd let her know. And I was like, that was pretty that was pretty
That's super
cool.
cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And so she was and still is today, very inspiring. So, they started the Jesse Combs Foundation. So anyone that's interested in that, and she was really big on, getting young girls and women into the automotive industry and, things like that. And just all around badass. I don't know if I could say that on your show, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've had worse on we've had people
She's-
say worse on this show than that.
especially
Okay,
for her.
cool.
I'm surprised.
especially
I'm
for her.
surprised we're still on the air. We wouldn't last on network TV. I'll tell you that much.
oh my
Especially
god,
for her.
the boss is just sitting at home, just writing this stuff.
Yep. I'll just walk right into his office in the morning. We'll just bypass the desk straight. That'll be the way it works.
Kind of speaking about her. So last year we were at Easter Jeep Safari, and I wanted to go up and say hi to her, whatever. And she's busy and whatnot. So I tell Collin, I'm like, oh, that's my crush. That's my crush. And as a joke and stuff.
Like his industry crush.
Yeah, as an industry crush and being playful, whatnot. I'm like, oh, it's fine. I'll leave her alone. Turn around. I'm like, she's gone. I'm like, no, I missed my chance.
Oh my god.
No, but I think definitely she was someone that for sure, man. She's hardcore. Yeah.
Yeah. And forever will be
Yeah.
missed, and I think that she was a huge staple to the industry, and it's crazy to see a lot of the stuff that she did and influence. And honest to God, I don't think that she knew like how much she impacted
Influential,
people.
yeah. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what's cool about seeing you like being out there in the panels with her. I'm like, that is super cool, man. Like it's super.
Well, I think
like,
what's interesting for all you children watching at home is a lot of people see people in the industry, all these people who are seen as like, oh, these famous industry people like Jesse Combs, or I can't even think of, or Ian Johnson, or whoever, Ken Block, or all these people, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Like, you think all these people are these big famous people, but like if you get the chance to go to PRI, go to SEMA, like go up and talk to these people, because they're not like some like crazy, they're just people. And 9 times out of 10, they're just going to be really nice and have a conversation with you. And you never know what's going to come out of that for you in terms of personally or like career wise. So that would be my suggestion. Like, if you want, don't not hold these people on a pedestal to be an inspiration for you, but don't hold them on some sort of like demigod pedestal in your life that you're like, oh, I'm just not going to say hi to them because they're just too busy for me. Like, no, go up and talk to them.
Yeah, so I was going to say, don't miss your opportunity to conversate with someone, but at the same time, don't miss your opportunity, but be respectful of their time.
Yeah, don't go up and like fanboy.
Yeah.
Like,
no, like be respectful.
like have a conversation. Like, don't like.
Appreciate their time more than anything. I guess probably like that.
Right, and then you never know, like maybe that's last opportunity you would ever get to speak to somebody. So
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And then, or you could be like me, where it's like one of the wee hours of late trips at SEMA, and you're sitting there, talking to somebody, and talking trash and laughing and stuff, and they leave, and the person like, do you have any idea who that was? I'm like, nope.
I thought you knew them. I thought you knew them.
He was on the cover of this.
You never know when you're gonna get the opportunity to run into that person again.
Right.
But I'm gonna switch gears here. I see Hector Muniz asking about pictures of the Jeep, and Joe did put you the link to our gallery. But for anybody else who wants to see, I'll pull up some pictures here for you guys of some that we did pictures of it recently. I think I go full screen here. Yeah, we can. This is the Jeep on not the 3717s, which is what all you Jeep guys are probably likely going to want to run in a trail setup. This is more of your mall crawler setup. These are 3820s. These 14.5s, Joe?
30. Yes, correct. Actually, yes, they are 14.5s.
Actually, like he doesn't expect me to guess it right.
No. It's not that. It's because remember the whole SEMA thing? I was like, yeah, cool. We got a mounted and balance. Got them on the Jeep. Let's put it in the trailer.
Yeah, these are the wheels that don't fit in the trailer. The 14.5s.
37.
So yeah, this is what we've done. These are the bosses on there. So, I mean, you're gonna be in terms of fitment pretty close to 37 to 38. I still don't understand why there's companies that offer both. I mean, in terms of what you're gonna get, you're really only gaining half an inch of height. It's not getting you much.
And that Jeep is serious. Like, if you're gonna break out of quarantine, I suggest you do it in that. I mean, that is hot.
Good to go, dude. Good to go. With all the steering stuff.
Yeah. So in terms of clearances, I mean, we got Highline fenders on here and this and that and the other, but I mean, it's and I always tell people, Like, don't base your build off of, like, if you like that genuinely, like, then do it. But don't just build it because you saw somebody else. Make it your own. Don't just do because oh, so and so did it, so that must be the best way to do it. I can tell you from the start right here, this we took a path that was not optimal in building this.
What would say that? I would say one thing is slight progressive building was kind of cool of it. Like changing one little thing at a time as it went along on that process. So you're seeing how that one part is actually affecting the overall build versus like just everything in unison. That was kind of cool. Especially in the steering though, it thing drives great now.
Yeah, I think it's important that people kind of understand that you should make it your own, and I don't think there's any best way to build a Jeep.
Yes, there is. What you see on social media, man. Like,
oh yeah, that's the best way. So and so does it on YouTube, so it's the best. That's like, the best way to do it. It's just there's no one way to do it. You build it how you want it for what you do. You're not gonna do the same things you see all these like people online do. I mean, you might, but like you're not them. You're not at the same wheeling ability. You're not at the same environment. Like it's not the same thing. So build it for you. Build it for what you want to do, and make it your own. And don't try to copy somebody else's build just because.
And some of it too is look though, also, right? Like thankfully, like our sidewalls, like you do have a little bit more, they're a little bit more fashionable and kind of stand out a little bit more, and some look more aggressive than the others. And
the concept about. I was talking about like what's best, like how to build your Jeep the best way. Yeah. People ask it all the time too. Why are your tires the best? I'm like, well, they're good for like certain things, but I mean, like if you want to get what you buy what you're comfortable with and what you want to buy. Like, I don't want to force you to buy, like give you the hard sales pitch and then you buy it and like you're just gonna be upset from day one because it's not what you wanted, but I sold it to you. Buy what you want to buy, what you think will fit, and what you're comfortable with. Like, if you're not comfortable running a super aggressive 37-inch tire, don't do it. Like, if you're never gonna go off roading, like, buy something that suits what you're gonna do, rather than just go like crazy because you read online that's the best.
Just send it.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Go with it. Just go. Well, that's what we did to our Jeep once for a photo shoot thing, man. Just like. Flew it over something or whatnot. I think like this last weekend I was out and about whatnot, and you see
Joe, you're not supposed to say you leave the house. You don't leave the house.
Once upon a time when we used to leave the house.
Hypothetically speaking, had I left the house, hypothetically speaking, what I assume it would look like outside is other Jeeps on bigger rims. And I think that's like a city thing slightly too, though. It's like, yeah, it does stand out.
Yeah.
But then again, if you're gonna go off-roading, obviously it's smaller rim, bigger tire, right?
We did go off-roading on this setup once. It was not enjoyable because the beadlocks were not prepared. Yeah, we went to Silver Lakes to the dunes with this setup. It was not optimal. I'll tell you that. That was not an optimal experience. It did it. We did not get stuck ever, but I was not as comfortable as I would have been on the 37s with the beadlocks. In terms of, but yeah, and that goes for Jeeps, for cars, for like building, like Jeanette was saying about how you slowly progress in like your drag build. Like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go to the track on weekends and drive it during the week. And then, oh yeah, I'm going to put more power and then more power. Oh, and then I'm going to go bigger tire. And then I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do that. And then I'm just going to put a cage in it because they have to be safe. And then I'm going to gut it. And then, oh wait, I can't drive this to work anymore.
Now I have like a 4-second blower card. You don't really exactly just like sit in something like that. It kind of like progresses over time, you know.
But you got that itch, you got to scratch it, man. You got to get to it.
But what's interesting is like we do a lot of, we started doing ladies only drag races about 10 years ago, and that's how it kind of it progressed. And it was just like, some gals that have never raced before, they came with their street car and they would start just getting used to it, how to do a burnout, how to stage, how to make it what it felt like, and then some of them would go in, faster cars. And then, next year, now it's like, they have a full blown race car, and now they're competing every other weekend. Now they're fighting with their husband about who's driving the race car, and they have to go build another one, So I have a lot of husbands that are kind of upset with me saying that I helped them create a monster. And look what you did to my wife, I'm like, but look how happy she is. Happy wife, happy life,
Right.
Well, that's like what I was telling Joe is you have to start somewhere in terms of with off-roading. It's the same thing. You have to start at, You have to have a reference point. Like if you buy a totally built up, it's the same whether you're drifting or racing or off-roading. If you buy something that's like fully built like from the start, like you're not going to learn the same way and have the same skill set and
Right.
connection with the vehicle as if you started like with something very basic, because you have to work harder to make it do what you want. Like you could buy, yeah, you could go out and buy a buggy off-roader on 42s with hydraulic steering and this and that. Yeah, you drive over anything and not worry about what line you take and this and that because it's super forgiving. Same thing, you could buy like a automatic street car or drag car with a cage and this and that, and then you just got to like be quick on the light, and then it's a lot easier than trying to learn the vehicle.
Well, and I think people like there's a difference between built and bought. There's a difference from progressing and just jumping in. I think like, it's almost like we never got things given to us as a kid. Like we had, if you want a car, you better go out there and get a job. You better go out there and get a job, So I think there's like a new, like you appreciate things a lot more, and you learn how to take better care of things because you know what it took to get that and to get there, as opposed to someone's like, here you go, which
hustle.
I don't, I can't really say that for sure just because I never had someone go, here you go to me. So if anyone wants to try it, let me know.
I'd like to try to compare. So if somebody wants
yeah,
to,
yeah.
I'm not against it.
I would.
Yeah.
I mean, and the built not bought thing. I think people often mistake that for the fact of built means your hand doing it. That doesn't even necessarily mean that. If you're
Right.
not comfortable with doing it yourself, like you can still build a vehicle without physically doing it yourself and still progress
Right.
through that. Not everyone's comfortable with that, but I would still recommend to people buy something at least closer to stock form and learn with the vehicle, grow with the vehicle instead of buying something, right out of the gate super souped up and then it's boring too because you're like, well, yeah, that's great, and like you don't have fun with adding stuff and seeing how it changes.
Right. And
Definitely using it.
And I don't, and I agree with you on like that built not bought thing, because there's certain things like, all right, like so I just sent the heads out for my Corvette. Okay, well, like there's certain things that I'm good at, and there's certain things that I know other people are good at. Like even like with the website design, like okay, like Joey over here could figure out how to do it, but it's going to take him twice as long. He's going to be frustrated. He could give it to me, and I'm an expert in it, and I could get it done. And it'll save him curse words, it'll save him time, and it'll save him a lot of money and heartache.
That's me with Photoshop. When I need something done, I'm like, Joe, can you do it? Because I can probably do it, but it'll take 3 times as long, and I won't do it the most effective way. And you'll spend about a quarter of the time, and it'll just look better than if I did it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Who you should seek out the people that are good at what they do. Not everyone is good at everything, and that's okay. But hey, Joe, next time I need something Photoshop, I know you're the man. Yeah.
The problem is finding time for Joe to do it because
it's nighttime.
Well, all those chairs back there. I mean, you must have like a full staff.
That's actually when they shut. That's when they shut down our office. That's where we're all gonna go work inside Joe's spare room. What would be, Jeanette, what would be your biggest advice to somebody trying to maybe get into the automotive industry, male or female? I guess it probably could be different advice either way, or the same. What would be kind of like for somebody trying to break in, especially for women, to break into like a male dominated industry?
Sure. So, all kinds of things. Like I got an email not too long ago with someone asking like, hey, I've always wanted to get in motorsports. What do I do? Go to the races. Go to the races. Go to different motorsports events. Like, I mean, you're not going to be able to get into it unless you actually go to. I know that's some weird advice right now with the quarantine, but like, go to the events, go to the races. You'll meet other like-minded people, and I've always kind of thought like you should surround yourself with people that are doing stuff that you like to do. Watch out for it's always interesting to see like new people come into the industry, and they're very impressed by like glitz and glam and this and that, but then as you've been in it longer and longer, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. Like it's not that easy, and there's a lot of things that you have to overcome and deal with and address, and maybe just go in there, don't give up, and have a good attitude, and don't be that, like not everybody is exactly what they seem, and so just be a little cautious, I guess.
Yeah, don't
But
get stuck into the pyramid scheme from The Office where Jim goes up there and draws the
yeah,
pyramid around. Like when Michael's like, well, yeah, we just got to get this guy. He got me and one other guy. Then we get 3 people each, and
yeah.
it's not a pyramid scheme.
Here's the pyramid.
So,
Oh
Don't
my
get
God.
caught up in that. Like
That's fine. Yeah,
there's plenty
funny.
of people who there's plenty of great people in the industry. There's plenty of people
Oh,
also
yeah.
who are willing to take advantage of you being naive.
Absolutely.
And I think like
Perfect word. Thank you. Yes.
and I think what you said about the glitz and the glam, I think it's a lot of people, especially I think SEMA's the perfect example of that. They're like, oh, if SEMA gets canceled this year, we're not going to get to see all the cool show cars. And I'm like, frankly, I could give 2 damns about not seeing. Like, if SEMA doesn't happen, that's where business deals are made. Like, hello, it's a B2B
Right.
event. Like,
Right.
excuse me, I'd like to, meet with our dealers and meet with like potential distributors and do all that. And you guys are like,
Right.
but I might not get to see the lifted trucks on 42s and the slammed Supras and all the Gladiator built. Like, I mean, that's fine and dandy and all, but I mean, like, some of us here are like out to make money that week. I don't know about all you guys.
And I have like the big one for me, like, because like is PRI. Like to me, it's more like drag racing focused and this and that. So when I go out to PRI, I'm there from like Wednesday until Monday. And everyone's like, where are the parties at? Let's go out. Da, da, da. I'm like, man, I have to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning for hair and makeup. And then I got to get my butt to this room and be there by 7 a.m. Then I had to deliver like an hour and a half long, like, panel or seminar or MC something like, and it's like that every single day. And then by the time the show is over, after I've had meetings and stuff, now I have to go to the dinner meeting, the sponsor meeting, and you're back at the hotel room at like, I don't know, midnight. And you got to do it all over again in 4 hours.
I've said this before on the show. People tell me and Joe, like, man, it's so cool you get to travel. It's just like you're on vacation all the time. Like no, it's not. Like, people don't realize, like, when we're on the road, we're working way more than we would at like a 9 to 5. We're putting in way more because like, especially when we're traveling, because now when we would travel with the bigger trailer, you have to spend more time. Like, you're not getting on a plane and you're there, like, and you're driving and you're on the road for multiple days. Yep. So you still have to do everything you would when you're in the office, but you're driving for 8 hours a day. So then you get to the hotel at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Then you gotta work and send emails and do this and that. And get caught up on everything. And
you have to upload your content, Collin.
Yes.
Joe, you say this stuff and you act like I don't do that.
I know, but that's the worst. It's like,
you act like I don't do this. You know how many
and then you're so tired.
You know how many poor hotels I've like taken down internet in because I've been trying to upload like 40 gigabytes of GoPro footage, and like the internet connection at the hotel is like crying, please stop. The poor people in the room next door probably trying to watch Netflix and it keeps buffering and they're like, who the heck?
Like, was this Silver Lakes where the internet went down and the only way to get internet was like inside the lobby and everybody's in there in their pajamas?
I've done that too. Oh my goodness. No, and it's so true. I left when did I leave? Like, I don't know, January. I was on the road for 5 weeks right after Christmas, right? And like I came home. I came home from Georgia. I was home for 1 day. Then I had to go to a local show. So I did 6 shows in a row on the road for 5 weeks. And everyone's like, wow, that's so awesome. You just got to go to Florida for like, a whole, month. And I'm like,
you're on the whole time, right? You're on the beach the whole time.
Yeah. Like, I didn't even get to see the beach. Okay. I see different pavement, whether it's at a racetrack or it's at Walmart, because I ran out of toilet paper, and like that's really it. And then when I pull in after driving like straight 18 hours by myself with my dog, it's like you got to sleep for a couple hours, and then either you do the work then that you're talking about, like the emails, the text messages, uploading content, or you sleep for a couple hours, then you're up at 4 o'clock in the morning doing that before you have to go unload and start your day. And what I did find interesting on this last trip, dirt track racing, they don't start racing until like 5 o'clock at night. So at the racetrack, we start racing at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what do you guys do all day? Like, they're like, well, we sit here and we drink and then we sleep in. I'm like, well, they still do that at the drag strips, but they're up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, But yeah, it's not a big party. It's a lot of work. I feel, I used to work corporate America before traveling like this, and I'm working at least like twice as much as I used to, but it's still a job. It just happens to be a cool job,
Well, because
you know?
everyone, all anyone sees is like the one picture you post on your personal social media, like of the beach, and they think, oh, well, they spent 3 weeks at the beach and this and that, and they were just partying it up in Florida. I'm like, yeah, or
Oh,
like
I
the one
wish.
picture you post like in Vegas where you're like at the bar or something, like around the Ferris wheel with a drink. Like, yeah, that was
Right,
the one night I went out that week, okay, and then I had
right.
to get up at whatever 4 a.m. the next day. So this isn't like
Yeah.
a vacation like all you guys think. We're just like, oh, you just go out to Vegas and party for a week. Yeah, I mean,
No.
kind of, but not really. Like,
Right.
I mean, it's a good time. I enjoy it, but it's not what you guys go and do in Vegas. It's
Right.
not the same thing.
It's not like the Hangover movie for 7
It's
days. Like we're actually
right.
there doing business,
No,
and
the
Well,
but
the mornings are like the Hangover.
hangover.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
The
just, but
monkey?
it's that
The monkey?
it's like the morning. It's like if it's like the last morning part of the Hangover for 7 days in a row. That's just how you feel.
The only bad thing is when if you have to drive back home, dude. That's where it's like,
Oh, you guys drove back from SEMA?
Oh,
That's
Joe
true.
did. I didn't.
Yeah. That's true, dude. It's
Poor
like,
Joe. I'm
yeah, we drove
sorry.
back a trailer.
I
with
heard
like,
that's a pretty drive.
we went down the
Oh,
southern
I
part.
think we lost Jeanette again.
It's all right. She'll be back on.
She'll be back. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just I think it's funny that people think that SEMA.
It's all glitz and glamour.
Well, that
It's all
events in
social
general is all
media.
glitz and glamour. It's like no, it's like it's not all glitz and glamour. There's a lot more to that. Jim, how are you doing, Jim?
Yeah,
Breaking in the
Jim.
XTs. I think
Yeah.
the XT is actually a surprisingly good tire for in the
He's
sand on that topic. I think it might be better than the Boss from what I saw when we were at Silver Lake in terms of
the Renegade. You talking about the Renegade?
other. I think there was something else in the XTs out there too besides that.
Actually,
I
there was a
remember, I
Jeep
think.
too. There was a couple of Jeeps too.
I
But yeah,
think
you're
I
right,
think
dude.
it's
The
just
XT
the
in
way the
sand.
tread pattern is because I think the Boss is too. It's too the
Digs
tread
too
blocks
much.
are too big and it
Digs
might be
so
too heavy
heavy.
too.
It
It's a very
digs. It
heavy tire,
digs.
which is a blessing and a curse because it's very.
You
It,
know what? And maybe because on the sand and Jeanette's back.
yep, you're
Yes.
back.
Didn't
Sorry,
miss
I'm
that
not sure
much.
why that keeps
You're
happening.
good.
I
No, you're
apologize.
It's a
fine.
reset.
That's the nature of a live show. We're doing it
Yeah.
live. Um,
Atturo.
I can just talk to myself, so I could fill time all night when you're gone. Yeah, Jim, I think the XT will do way better in the sand because I just think it's the nature of how that tread pattern is and the weight. Like the Boss is great because it's a very heavy, durable tire. Like it can take a beating, and I think that's why. And that's the other thing with the Boss, as on Jeeps and stuff. People have to run them. Like I was talking to my buddy who just puts Bosses on his JL. You have to run them extremely low because they're such a strong tire, and Jeeps weigh literally nothing. So in order to get a nice contact patch, you got to run them at like 25 psi
Yeah.
because you want that nice even wear. And Jeeps are just so light, and that tire with the 3-ply sidewall and the 10-ply tread is it's such a stout tire that you have to make sure that you're looking to make sure you do that chalk test and do that. And I mean, that's not scientific by any stretch of the imagination. I always say start with either our PSI calculator or start with your manufacturer on your door. Start there and adjust from there. I mean, don't drop it down to I don't want to hear from our warranty department from some guy. Yeah, I put on my on my big dually truck, I dropped down to 20 psi because Collin said on Tire Talk that's how to do it. And then I put my trailer on there and I blew out the tires. This is usually Jeeps is what I recommend, or extremely light trucks. Like on the Ranger right now, we're running less air in the tires than like we're like right around 30. But don't tow on like adjust your air pressure for your application, everybody. That's all I'm saying.
Air pressure? No, I'm just kidding. Air pressure. No,
Oh, we're busting out the Red Bulls now.
Yeah.
right. No, Jim's cool too because we're talking about the Outer Banks. That was a trip we took with him and Aaron Brown from the garage shop and stuff. And man, dude, I have a picture I had brought when we went or purchased out there. So I have that framed up. So I was looking at that. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to make it back out there again. You know, it's a pretty interesting place because at nighttime, some of like the places where you camp out at, they have like noise ordinances or no light ordinances. So like after a certain amount of time, X amount of light needs to go out. So then like you can see. So the lighthouses, for example, for the boats and all that. But it's cool because you can see the sky. And
But
I don't know,
how am I
it's
supposed to
interesting.
show off my cool underglow on my car then?
Right? No, actually, but back to the sand factor. Sorry, but that's kind of how I got into that. It's a very, very sandy place. The Boss did good, but I think the XTs get it right too. Those in sand are pretty.
Curious how the ATS will do in sand.
That's what I was thinking about the ATS and the MTS. I wonder which one would.
ATS probably because that tire's so light. That's a very light tire. At least in the whatever it is that we have now, the 285 50 22 45 22.
45 22s.
Those are I think that's the lightest tire in our lineup in like a 22. That thing weighs nothing, so I think it'd do great because you have so little rotation.
So we're like sand dunes, man. It's Michigan. Once that stuff all kind of gets together.
Yeah. Well, one day when we're allowed to go out in public and eat at restaurants again, and
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Rather than later.
I just cannot wait, Joe. I just cannot wait to go to a Mexican restaurant and smash like 4 bowls of chips with some margaritas. Let me tell you, if I knew when we were in Texas that was gonna be the last time I was eating at a Mexican restaurant, I would have had way more food.
Oh my god! All right, we like when this does open up. Collin's my type of guy. We all gotta go out and have margaritas and tacos, dude.
I'm just ready for some chips and like just a big old margarita, like they bring out the fish bowl. That's what I want.
The only obstacle was parking the trailer. That's it. Where we parked the trailer, and there you go. Let's go eat.
I mean, how did we mess this up? Cinco de Mayo was literally on Taco Tuesday.
We didn't even get to eat Mexican food on Cinco de Mayo because every place we called was like a 2.5 to 3 hour wait for takeout. And I'm like, I like tacos, but I'll just wait like 30 minutes the next day because everyone's going to give up. Then try to do it on Cinco de Mayo.
I was devastated. I ended up having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I was just, I was like, how does this, it's like if you're playing football and you're training for the Super Bowl, like this is the moment, this is our time, this is what we've been training for, it's go time. And then bam, coronavirus. And it's like, how does this happen? And then it's like, even like nature is rubbing in your face because it's the coronavirus, Like,
yeah, Mexican beer. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious. I've thought about this. I wonder what this will do for Corona as a brand long term from a marketing perspective.
Well, price wise, really quick, I can just tell you at Walmart. Yeah, it was Walmart when I was buying like some sodas or whatever and stuff.
Sodas.
They had the Coronas and the Modelos next to each other, and I'm like, whoa, that is a very big price difference on the same amount of quantity of beers. And I think one of them was like almost like half off. One was like I think it was like $12-13 for.
Well, Modelo is brewed by Corona, right?
No, I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, it's the same company.
Yeah. That's funny.
I don't know. Well, it's one way or the other. If you look at like a thing of Modelo, it says like Corona something or the other way around. It says the name of it. It's the same. It's bottled by the same company. It's like the same thing. I mean, it's not the same thing. It's not the same.
Yeah, price
Corona is far superior to Modelo. I'll just say that right now, and all the people from Midwest Truck Invasion who are watching this are going to hate me, the Modelo crowd.
Midwest Truck Invasion. They had a huge turnout last year at Great Lakes Wrangler.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a mud pit.
There?
It was we were there. It was a mud pit.
You were there? Oh my god. That's
we
awesome.
sponsor the burnout pit.
That was that event is rowdy.
Awesome.
Like I guess like some some were like, oh my god, and the owner's like, this is great.
Yeah, dude. But there was some guy.
There was talk. There was talk. They were worried they weren't gonna let them back this year. That's how crazy it got last year.
That's awesome.
Because we leave before it gets really, because we go in like the morning and then we'll leave like whatever 4 or 5 o'clock and get out of there.
Yeah.
But I heard like once the sun goes down, that place gets absolutely lawless.
That's awesome. It's on my list of events that I want to attend just because based on pictures and videos I saw from last year.
It was a mud pit last year. It rained like the morning, and then you got there because they park all the trucks like because it's a huge show too. Not everyone's there to race. The majority of people actually aren't there to race.
Right.
So they park them all like in the grass, like outside, like in the outskirts of Great Lakes. When you drive in that huge field to your right hand side, that's where they park all the trucks. And it was literally like you're walking around and you're sinking like 3 inches into the mud. Like it was that, and
Sure.
they're all driving because a lot of these guys are street trucks, so they have like slicks on them and stuff, or like street tires, so they're just like spinning out and going all over. I'm like, man, this
Digging
is
into the
an
dirt.
end. There's guys like pushing down in the back trying to get
Oh
weight
my
on it.
god. I'm sure their landscaper loved that the next day.
And
Oh,
that's
man.
what I was worried about. That I'm just like,
Look at Joe.
mess
I'm
everywhere.
innocent. I was
Well,
worried about your grass.
So they are
Yeah.
so they are having it, or the scheduled date for this year, they are still having it supposedly, but this year they moved it to a Sunday instead of a Saturday. So I wonder if that's potentially to tone down on the rowdiness during the night, because they're gonna hope people are gonna have to
The
leave because it's a
Monday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't necessarily work out that way. I know Larry's Fun Fest, it's Saturday and Sunday, and the big day is Sunday. It is insane.
snap.
Like you can't. There's nowhere to park. It's a big picnic. It's a big reason to party. But Sundays. The Sunday thing doesn't necessarily apply when we're talking horsepower and beer
Well,
and burnouts.
I just don't want to
Burnouts
have
is
to.
just
I don't want to
bad.
have to go into work the next day. That means I
The
gotta work on Sunday and then go into work on Monday.
Yeah, the
Mar-
burnouts are so intense. There was like literally shards, like just rubber and metal wiring flying around, and Collins in sandals.
I was not in sandals. They were new. They were new, just like they were like Adidas, like soft, like those mesh, like the
Oh.
not the Yeezys, but like the ones Adidas makes that are like those. I had those on, which was just not the right footwear for the mud. I should have wore my boots. That was a terrible decision, but
Sounds
I didn't know it was
So-
gonna be that muddy.
sounds like he was wearing sandals.
Joe made the worst decision though, because we're at the shop waiting for Joe to get there. Here comes Joe pulling up. I looked at the weather. I'm like, man, it might rain a little bit today. Here comes Joe pull up in the Jeep. No doors. All the doors off. We're like, Joe, where's the doors, bud? He goes, I was nice today. Figured I'd take them all off. I'm like, you realize it's going to rain. Look at the sky. He goes,
It's fine.
nah, it's going to hold off. We start driving, just downpour.
Oh, that's
Downpour.
I'm
awesome.
just driving like, oh my, it's rain's coming in the sides and
Really? Like all the way from your shop to the racetrack on the freeway? Oh, God.
The drag strip.
I would have loved to. I should just set up the GoPro. Like, Joe, I'm just gonna put this here. Just it's not.
I was
gonna rain.
like, son
I
of
would
a.
have loved to have
damn it.
just a reaction of Joe, just like, I'm sweat. I'm sweat.
It's so cold, so cold, so cold.
That is too funny.
And then we're waiting in line because for Midwest Truck Invasion, it's just a huge. I mean, any big event in Great Lakes, but it was all the way backed up. The entrance down to the road, so we're waiting to get in, and it's still just pouring. And Joe is like nowhere warm to go. He's just sitting, it's just rain coming in.
It's like heater.
Nice job.
Right.
So next event, you're gonna look at the weather reports before you take the doors off.
Right. It's just
No,
like, and
we gotta
you're
get- we gotta get
committed.
some- We gotta get some
You're
half
committed.
doors. Speaking of taking things off, Joe, you want to tell everybody about the new upgrade for the Jeep?
Oh, the Sunrider,
Yeah.
the Bestop one. Yeah, so Collin
Bestop before you get destroyed by all the
that's right.
Jeep
Yeah, sorry,
owners in the
Bestop.
comments.
They'll be like, "You're done, son." So I like it. I think convenience wise and ease of use. It's one hand each side, whatever. It's just it kind of locks into where they call them the freedom panels. But this is nice because it's I could say convertible, for example. So it's down and you can just pop them out. I don't think I took it on the highway with it open though. I know around streets and stuff, whatnot, maybe going like 40, 50 at least, something like that. And it drove well. And then it started raining. So that was kind of fun on Saturday and just, popped it back down and covered it up. And the only thing I think that I have to look into is maybe some kind of screen or shade. So if you're sitting there with the top open, the
Joe, we
sun's not
have a
beating into
shade
you.
for it, and you refuse to put it
The
on.
spider shade thing.
We literally have
But you
one, and
gotta,
you don't
like,
want to
take
put it
the
on
whole top
from
off.
principle because you have to take
It's
the top
such
off.
a
to do it.
process.
It's not. We've had the top off several times since then, but every time I take the top off, I'm like, Joe, the top's off. I'll put the Spider-Man shade on. He goes,
Nah.
oh, I don't have it. It's at home.
Nah. Yeah, man.
Such a process, but you'll take the doors off when it's about to rain.
Yeah. This is what I have to deal with. Everybody at home. This is why I'm going to be bald by the time I'm 30. I'm telling
Not
you,
with
it's
all
just-
that hair. I saw you take your hat off. You're solid, man.
Yeah,
it's
but
thin. It's there's a lot, but it's thin.
That's a lot of hair.
Sunrider. Yeah.
I need the Sunrider so I can let my hair flow in the wind.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Just in the wind. In the wind.
Like Baywatch.
Like a shampoo commercial or something.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. Now,
So-
now I wish you would have used that beach back screen just for that
Yeah.
content.
Everybody, I think we're gonna have like the hashtag, like what Collin's screen is for each week, because it just changes every week. We'll see.
Like, no, this guy's really traveling.
This guy's actually traveling. How is he getting around with the coronavirus?
He doesn't even care. He doesn't care.
So I'm gonna touch on a few upcoming events, because that's what everyone's talking about. We're gonna talk about events and what's gonna get canceled, what's gonna not get canceled. Our next event that was on the calendar was Bantam Jeep Fest in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That has since gotten canceled. They were gonna postpone
over.
that to October, but the campground they hosted at has said they're shutting down for the remainder of the year. Preemptively, they've already announced
Oh.
that. So yeah.
So they'll move it over.
They said they're going to try to have some sort of other smaller scale event. I believe it's like October 6th to the 8th, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. I think that's close.
October. No, the first weekend of October it's 2 to 4 or something like that. The
Oh,
first
2 to
weekend,
4.
think
I
it
was
whatever the
close.
first weekend was. Yeah.
So I mean, there'll still be something. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be not. I don't know if we'll go. We'll see. Like I said, our September, October event schedule is absolutely jam packed, but I'm gonna want to go to as much as we can after this opens up, because I'm sick of sitting in the office every day.
But you sit next to me.
Yeah,
6
the
feet
point
away,
still
right?
stands. I'm sick of sitting in the office every day. At least when we go to events, when I need to work on something, Joe disappears when I need to set stuff up.
Only during important parts.
Only during tear down and setup does Joe have to go to the bathroom during an event weekend. Only time.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So
There's always that one employee.
Yeah, the downside is there's only 2 employees that go to events, so it's just me setting stuff up then. So Scraping the Coast would be our next kind of potential event on the schedule for us here. At least whatever is our kind of loose schedule. I don't think we're actually even committed to anything on the schedule anymore in terms of payment or commit. I don't think they're really
in terms of life.
Yeah, I don't think we actually have a firm commitment on literally any event. So everything I say, you take with a grain of salt. But Scraping the Coast, that's June 26th through 28th. I mean, a lot of these events, even if we don't go out and vend, there's still a chance we'll be out there just to hang out because
see what's going on.
See what the status of things is.
Like
That's a cool event for more.
That's a
kind
very
of
cool
cars,
event,
street
man.
trucks, that sort of thing.
Down south, Biloxi, Mississippi, at the Coliseum and stuff.
Joe just likes that event because there's like 6 Waffle Houses within walking distance.
Yes.
So. Yeah, yes, you get it. You get it.
At this point, at waffles, tacos, whatever, man.
Like,
whenever the first place that's open, I'm there. I'll be your number 1 customer.
Serve it.
So,
serve it.
Do you have any, Jeanette, do you guys have any upcoming potential events that you're going to try to go to if it opens? Like, what would be your next one potentially if things started to open up?
Well, I am currently streaming from my RV right now because in theory, I may be leaving in a couple days. So take that, JB Pritzker. No.
Florida, here I come.
I just had 11 events in a row cancel. It sucks, man. It's horrible. So I'm actually gonna go do like a consulting gig in Texas, and I'm gonna be there probably about like 8 or 9 days. And at that 9th day, there's going to be a decision made whether I'm going to Radio Fest in Alabama or I'm going to COVID-8 in Orlando, Florida. Either way, I'm going to one of them. You know, obviously Alabama is a little bit closer by 10 hours, but one of them's going to be open. So I'm going.
Hopefully.
I'm going to have the trailer.
I tell you right now, we're not going to have events in Illinois anytime soon. That's for sure.
Yeah, they said. So
basically, they said until there's until there's a virus, until there's a vaccine or a reasonable therapeutic, whatever that means.
Right.
There's going to be no events in Illinois. So
well, they said phase 5, and JB Pritzker's like, well, phase 5 can happen anywhere between 9 and 15 months. 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 Like,
it's not gonna happen.
what is happening here?
It's not gonna go on that long.
Last night I was on my phone looking at Zillow, looking for houses for sale in Tennessee, Texas, any of the states that were open. Like, those are
that's okay. There wasn't that many good events in Illinois to begin with, anyway.
No, it's just that we live here, so it's
it's a good kind of station.
We live here, like, that's it. Period. Like, and then I see that we are strongly encouraged not to cross state lines. Well,
right. Get out of here.
All I know is now I'm looking for houses. Not only did I already want to get out of Illinois, but now I'm looking at life differently. Like, live where you want to quarantine.
I saw a joke where it was people looking at houses later this year. Could you see yourself quarantined here, the real estate agent? Look at this living room. Could you see yourself self-isolating here? What do you think?
I'm saying all of my friends down in Florida, when this all started to us right before St. Patrick's Day, they're over there like, oh, it's so rough. I'm sitting on my beachfront property. It was snowing here. Yeah. It was snowing here, and it was 5 degrees.
Shut up.
It's like, we are not the same. We are not the same. Stephanie, we are not the same. I'm sorry. Like, I'm done.
Doug in the comments here on Facebook, off-roading in Illinois. Yeah, there's like 2 off-road parks, and they're like very manufactured, and it's not real off-roading. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm never gonna buy a Jeep or like a legitimate off-road vehicle for myself while I live in Illinois, because there's just no point. Because why would I buy something that's gonna be designed for off-roading when there's nowhere to off-road it? If I moved to Colorado, to Utah, to somewhere out there, I'd buy a Jeep like in a heartbeat, because I could actually go out and wheel it every weekend. But here, like, what am I gonna do? Go like climb some dirt mountains? Like at a construction
Take
site?
it on 294. It's the same thing. No,
yeah.
Just kidding. Right. Someone please tell me that they are fixing these highways while no one's driving on them.
Nope,
right
nope,
now.
not a chance. Not an absolute chance.
No, but yeah, 294 off-roading, whatever.
Yeah, in terms of off-road area, Doug said we have about 10 acres in total in the state. That's
combined.
Great job there by the state of Illinois. So, I mean,
yeah, I think Badlands. No, but
Badlands is in Indiana. That's not even.
Well, I know sometimes like your only options. Like,
well,
Badlands.
There's the cliffs down south, but that's pretty manufactured too. And then there's the River Road Rally by us, but that's really small and extremely manufactured.
Yeah, very. Do you have a nice wash point, Doug? I gotta give him credit for that. Very nice wash point.
Well, yeah.
Next time you guys go off-roading, I would love to come if there's ever an opportunity.
Definitely take you.
Be a great time.
The opposite side of this.
We'll see. I'm hoping we get to go to Colorado this year and go off-roading out there, but
end of July. Yeah, I saw that link you sent.
That's probably. Well, we'll see. Hopefully they start opening up the backcountry in Colorado. I know Chris is watching the stream and he goes to Mile High all for fun too. So I'm sure maybe he'll be able to chime in. But I think like I love that event, and I could see it realistically happening maybe without the vendor show. But again, it can't happen unless the BLM lets them have, the Forest Service lets them use the trails. If they keep the backcountry closed, especially to non-residents, I mean, it's out of their hands. So
yeah.
So
this whole thing straight. There is light at the end of this tunnel. We all will be back out tearing stuff up and having a good time, and
hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see.
You have to.
Eventually. It's just the matter, is it 6 months? Is it 15 months? That's the question.
I think if this keeps up any longer, like some of these people that have living on a farm acreage, like 140 acres, they're just going to start building racetracks in their backyard and say, come on, private property.
You're right. You're right.
Yep. And there's actually events that happen like that. And
you have to.
I can't really talk too much about them on the radio, but they're good. Yeah. Well, hypothetically, there's like this. There's this one that I believe is out in Iowa, and he has they have a racetrack on their property, and it's like topless drag racing for a week. It's so like this crazy party, and they have crazy contests, and it's like invite only type deal.
Yeah,
so I think
who's there.
Yeah,
So
kinda
Chris,
like
you think
easier
Chris in the
stuff.
comments said 80-20 not happening for All for Fun. So you think more likely than not it's not going to happen? I would say it's more of a 50-50 shot. I've said from the start I think events like that are going to have more resilience. You mean first next month? First of the week? I think beginning of June is when they said they were going to make the call. Yeah, I think it is. I'm sure it's extremely on the bubble, but I think I don't see how you couldn't have an event like that. I mean, get rid of the vendor show that's coming from a vendor. Get rid of the vendor show, and then you have way less people congregating. So I would like to see, the off-roading still happen, because at the end of the day, the vendor show is nice and all. Like, I mean, it's great for us. It's great but I mean, everyone's there to go on the trails. Everyone doesn't come out there for a week to walk around and get stuff sold to them by the vendors. So I'd like to see the off-roading aspect of it still happen, especially because I think that can be done within any sort of guidelines, as long as people are being smart. I don't understand why off-roading in a group in your own vehicle is not an approved activity. Besides the fact of people traveling state lines to get to the event, but I mean, at what point are we gonna eventually you're gonna have to allow people to do that. That's just the inevitable thing here that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to talk about the inevitables here, but it's eventually gonna happen. So what's the next step to make that happen?
You still got to get to places, right? You're just being smart in between those points as best as you can. That's all.
As a vendor, your statement makes me very sad. But just so you know, I did do some things to prepare my merchandise trailer, for social distancing and things like that. I used to have I have spinny racks outside, and that's the whole thing, is to get you to come into my trailer. I have spinny racks on our counter that have all the whistling turbos and the nitrous bottles and beer, all this stuff. And it's just I can't have people touching that. So I eliminated all of it and made it looks like McDonald's in my trailer right now, because I have all these flat screen TVs, and you just pick, point, tell me which one, and I'll grab it for you. That's really it. And I am gonna take the cash. I'll spray it down with Lysol and throw it somewhere, whatever. I'm taking it.
Cash is king.
Yeah.
Chris says in the comments here, Mile High Jeep Club's really fighting to keep it on, and I'm sure a lot of these event planners I don't think all these event planners want to cancel any of these events, because I mean, no. That's their livelihood. Some of these companies. I mean, I know Mile High Jeep Club is a very charitable organization, but at the end of the day, events like that cost money to put on. There's definitely money involved, and it's in their best interest to have it go on if they can in some sort of safe, productive way. But I think it's like we talked about in the beginning of the show. At what point is that cutoff of it being worthwhile for you? Because if they're yeah, you can have it, but you can only have 20% of the people you had there before, I think most event planners are going to be well, it's not worth my time, energy, or money to do that. So I'm just going to cancel.
Speaking of time and energy, now it's funny that you mentioned having those monitors and stuff. How many monitors do you have? And I'm kind of curious, because I've seen you set up obviously at the shows and having everything on the tables that people can see and interact with it. And I kind of feel that the little that I've seen is that once someone grabs something and interacts with it, they kind of want to purchase it and own it, right? But now with the TV, I wonder how that'll be.
Well, everything's out for a reason, and it's to drive you into the trailer. There's a reason why circular clothes racks are circular. It's to get you to walk around and come in this way. Circular clothes racks work better than long clothes racks for that purpose, and they don't tip over, which is nice. And then so everything's spinny on the counter, to showcase all the shiny jewelry, the shiny keychains. And what happens is picture, Kim over there with her 3 kids, and little Timmy comes running over. He's like, "Look at these turbos!" No, Timmy, don't touch that. It has the coronavirus. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. And you don't want people touching this stuff. At the same time, I use these things to draw people into the trailer. There's a reason why we got lights and we got tamarines. It's we're entertainers, you know what I mean? And so we try, I feel I'm a carny, you know what I mean? And so trying to get you to come in. So now just out of caution, because we're probably going to be one of the first vendors to go to an event, and I don't need someone walking by oh, look at Jeanette's setup over there. She's got everyone's touching stuff, and that's where the coronavirus
then people are judging you you don't care, you're not taking it seriously, and it's not
right.
And I guess us going to events and us doing things isn't us not taking it seriously, but like that's like our livelihood is doing this kind of stuff. So it's like,
This is what I do for a living.
yeah, we
Literally.
need to go out and do our jobs just as much as you guys need to go out and do your jobs, like
Right.
in terms of like making a living and doing what our job function is. So it's not that we aren't taking this seriously. Like me pushing for events to open up isn't me like,
Being selfish.
yeah, isn't me being selfish or dumbing down or playing down what's happened here. It's sad. It really is. But at some point, things need to go back to at least a degree of what they were before for us to be able to function as individuals and as companies. And hopefully that just starts happening sooner than later. And I want to remind everybody we got about 20 more minutes left in the show here.
Oh, snap.
We got the Atturo Tires Swiss-made timepiece here for raffles. So be sure to invite all your friends back to the stream. And we'll do some trivia or some sort of fun giveaway at the end for the Atturo Tires black watch. We'll get that shipped out to you tomorrow, and hopefully USPS is pretty quick or whatever, however I decide to ship it out, whatever the shipping department wants to do. But it comes in this really sweet, hard black case. You get a chance to win it. It looks like really weird because of the green screen, and it doesn't know how to like go around the case because it's not my face. But yeah, so invite your friends back. We're going to do trivia here in a little bit to give away this watch. So we'll see who wins this. And then, like I said, everybody who comes in here, invite people in and tell them to comment because I'll send out some swag boxes. I'll pick people from the comments tomorrow.
Ooh, swag box.
When I get to the office and send out some stuff because that's the only way people are getting things now because we're not handing out stuff at events like we used to. So I'm trying to send out what I can.
I wear size medium.
That's what I was gonna say. Actually.
Just saying, that's not corona in my throat.
Yeah, better be careful.
Lori Lightfoot's gonna be down here before I know it.
Get your ass back in the house.
We ain't playing games.
You will go to jail. It's like the did you see the one where it took the guy from Parks and Rec, the episode of Parks and Rec where they have the sister city from Venezuela, and the guy does the bit like, oh, you undercooked chicken, jail. Overcooked fish, jail. So they took that bit and they've overlaid like Lori Lightfoot saying jail. So it's, oh, you undercooked cooking, jail. You overcooked cooking, we will put you in jail.
Oh
like,
my god,
man, whoever made that's my
You
hero.
know, speaking of like marketing and stuff like that, I don't know if you guys ever done it, but if her Instagram account, the mayor's Instagram,
she has a TikTok now.
oh
no,
geez,
she doesn't.
oh wow,
She does not. How do you follow her
at
on
Mayor
TikTok?
No, I don't even have a TikTok, but I've seen it. Everybody shares them on Facebook and stuff.
Damn,
I refuse to embrace that social media platform. I think it's a joke.
In terms of like marketing and stuff like that, I think her approach is kind of cool. Like one, embracing it, like it is what it is, and be a part of it, or just gonna be a battle against her for the whole time. But she had like this last weekend, she had different artists taking over her account and then like playing different instruments or doing art or whatever. And I thought it was pretty cool, man. It's pretty neat.
She's
I don't
know.
I don't know if I buy
Stay
into
home.
I don't know if I buy into TikTok as a social media platform yet. This goes back to what we talked about before about social media being important and somebody's on social media. I don't believe the numbers they put out in terms of engagements and likes and all. I think they're playing with the numbers. There's no way these videos are getting that many views.
So I joined TikTok about 2 weeks ago because
Nice.
as an internet marketing professional, I gotta see what's
Embrace
going on,
it.
how I can use it. Can any of my clients use it for anything? I don't know. Let's find out. So I threw up a couple videos on there. One of them is actually a Jeep from when I was at Detroit Autorama. So the true Jeanette, go on my TikTok, you'll see it. But it has over 84,000 views within less than 2 weeks. It's
Were you
insane.
at Detroit Autorama this year?
You know? Yeah.
Did you see I graduated from Northwood University in December, and they had a blue E30 out there with a vinyl wrap, and it had a bunch of like sponsors on it. I don't know if you saw it or not.
I don't know. I might have saw it. Like I work in a trailer like all day.
Yeah.
And I was telling Joe, I was on the road. That was my last event, like being on the road like 6 weeks. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's where if I did get the corona, I probably got it from there because we're sitting there. We're at the GM, like what's it called, the Shock or something, where we're sitting there drinking. You shake so many people's hands, like we're sharing bottles with random strangers. Like that's where it came from. in my opinion. Sorry,
Well,
but
that's what I don't like. So we were at World of Wheels in Chicago, and I shook a ton of people's hands, talked to a ton of people.
Yeah.
I didn't get coronavirus. Like
Right.
who's
Did you?
I would maybe I did.
Well, like being on the road as much as we are for a living, I mean, you meet and talk to so many different people, and like, how did did we get sick and we just didn't know it, or
Or
what?
like
I don't know.
SEMA, going back to like SEMA, like after the week of SEMA, I've yet to meet somebody who's made it through SEMA and not gotten sick by the end of it. Just because you're not sleeping, you're talking so much every day, you're coming in contact with so many people from all around the world, you're gonna get something.
Yeah.
Every
Right.
time I've gone to SEMA, I've gotten something, and everybody I know has gotten some sort of cold. I think, I don't know. So maybe maybe we all got it at SEMA. Everybody already got it at SEMA.
I feel good at SEMA because they pump some really good air into those hotel rooms.
Those casinos.
yeah, it's like it's almost like putting like an IV into like cure a hangover to start it all over again.
Well, it's funny because like Vegas is so, like you walk into there and everybody's smoking at the slot machines. Doesn't smell like cigarettes. I'm like, man, they must be pumping so much oxygen into this joint. The fact that I could walk in and it doesn't just smell like an ashtray in here, which is what I would expect.
Yeah, SEMA's a good time. It's pretty wild. I taught I sat next to Big Daddy Don Gartlett's at the Quarter Mile Foundation booth like the whole weekend by who are we across from? God, I forget that guy's name. Anyway, so I taught him about Snapchat. And so I was like, look at Snapchat. We had filters with ears and stuff. And he's like, oh my God, how do you do that? I was like, it's magic, Don. It's magic.
So did you, going back to the TikTok thing, so do you think it's a viable platform for any sort of professional use other than as Doug said in the comments here, I just have to make an Atturo's TikTok and do dances like Fortnite dances and hope people find our tires?
I wouldn't do anything with you in it. I would do stuff with your Jeeps and with your wheels and with your rims. The one thing that kind of sucks is that, unlike when you make a post on Facebook, you can drop a link like, see more here, see, something like that. You have to catch these people's attention based on hashtags and get their attention enough that they click on your profile and start following you. And that's on your profile. You can actually have the URL link, and it also links to your Instagram. So then they can click the button and go directly to your Instagram. So I don't think having photos of you and Joe or you and Joe dancing does anything. Like,
but I guess my point is like, in terms of having products, yes, I agree. Having your products on there is a better use case, but are people on TikTok to like, is that what people want to see? I don't think the platform's built for that. Like, I mean, Instagram's kind of like different in the Instagram and Facebook are kind of different in the fact they become so broad now. I feel like TikTok's still very niche in what people want to see there.
Well, what's interesting about TikTok, because like my feed will look different than my girlfriend's feed. And my girlfriend's the one that got me on there. She likes different things than I do. And so what happens is you open it up and a video will pop up and I'm like, okay, that sucks. I just keep skipping through. Then I see like a badass video of like, I don't know, a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or a Jeep or a truck. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. I like that. So then the algorithms start figuring out what you like. So I start seeing more of what I like and less of what I don't like. I don't like seeing these kids or girls or stupid stuff. Like cougars doing these weird dances in their bedroom. Like that's just awkward. Like that's not for me. I don't like that kind of stuff. I'm into cars. I'm into racing. I'm into motorsports.
I've heard a lot of people on TikTok, influencers on TikTok who are like in the car community. They said their engagement is crap on TikTok compared to any other platform because people aren't there to see that. And I've been weighing the cost of, is it worth us taking on that would be the fourth platform we're on?
Well, what's interesting is that you guys probably already have the content to do this. So why not utilize the content that you already have and repurpose it and give it a shot and just see, and then see if it's worth your time or not. It's going to be linked to your Instagram. And so people can go to your website or go to your Instagram from their profile. So that's what I did. I repurposed the content that I already had to see if it's worthwhile.
And again, it just goes back to my first thing is I still don't believe that the numbers they publish for views and impressions and all that, I think they're fudging the numbers somehow. Well, I don't think people are actually viewing them as much as TikTok claims they are.
Well, I went to this Sprout social class in Chicago downtown last year, and they broke down different screen times and what you get per what platform. And on TikTok, they were saying that people are getting about 6 to 8 seconds of someone's time, and that's a lot of time, man. To have just them watching your screen for an ad, that's intense. It's a lot. That's good.
I say, hey, we're quarantined, we're locked down. You got the content. Try to repurpose it and just see. It's not saying it's for everybody, but it might. With the car scene, you guys have a very visual. This is a visual industry. This is a fun industry. This is awesome. Someone that really likes cars and is really into that. I mean, some of these people that I'm following on there, it's like, holy cow, what does that person do for a living? That they have all this cool stuff. If I was going to be quarantined, I want to be on a mansion on a beach with just like a huge barn full of toys I can go up there and tear up my grass with.
I'm gonna get a bill after this show for all Jeanette's consulting on her social media. I'm gonna get like a bill after this in my email that I'm gonna have to pay.
This
sorry.
no,
Sprout Social. I
like
actually used to use them. I actually used to do some work with Sprout Social using their program. So it's a good one.
Well, the class was cool. I mean, it was free. Obviously, it's free, so you can kind of, they can get you on other service or whatever. But I think the thing with TikTok is kind of like it's somewhat of a Snapchat, where the type of message that you're putting out, and I might be wrong, but TikTok, when you put something out there, it's gone like 24 hours or something, right?
No, it stays there.
Snapchat.
That's Snapchat.
Oh, Snap.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Snapchat.
So
TikTok, it lives there.
It's like a post then, kind of.
Yeah, it's like a post.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's like it's video, and video is like the leading thing for engagement.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying, give it a shot.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, we'll see.
We could get Collin in the Jeep with his hair blowing in the breeze and like some Baywatch music going. That actually might get some hits. I don't know.
So I've said in the past, all this show does is now all my friends who watch are just gonna go back to the archive and screen grab all the faces I make during this, and there's gonna be memes of me all over the internet just from Tire Talk. So,
do you think that having that's what I'm gonna say the TikTok, but having TikTok helps you to grow?
What are you, 80?
Right?
You gotta get on the. I'm on the TikTok. Well, is that the clock? I got the grandfather clock. Is that the same thing?
Again, what's crazy is like not even being on there 2 weeks. I just have it for me, for Jeanette, just to see, because I wanted to see. And like in 2 weeks, I have over 1,400 followers. I'm only following like 12 people.
Oh, wow.
Like, I'm not doing any, and it's all just car stuff.
Yeah.
But car stuff that I already had videos of.
See, that's what makes me suspicious. That's a stupid amount of growth for any sort of social platform.
But timing, no, because of right now,
I think, yeah, that's true.
And that's what I'm saying. And so, like, when people are like, "Oh, I don't know if that's for me," well, people didn't think Facebook was for them. People didn't think LinkedIn was for them. People didn't think Instagram was for them. And now look at, So it's like, do you want to wait to find out that, wow, maybe I should have tried it, or do you want to get your feet wet and see if it's for you? And
well, yeah, or TikTok can end up with the same fate Vine did.
What's Vine? No, I'm just kidding. That was funny, Collin. That was funny. He's here all night, folks. I like that.
I'm here as long as they'll keep me on until they cut the internet off.
Yeah, you had me, and I can't wait to go to tacos and get dips and margaritas like this big. Like, that's awesome.
And I have.
That's why I started. We did for anyone who hasn't seen, we did do our last event in Texas. I did do a vlog. Because I wanted to do that for all our events this year, because I think we do cool stuff behind the scenes that no one sees at events. It was going to be really fun. There was going to be a lot of cool videos, and then
road tripping it.
We didn't go anywhere. So you're just stuck with me in front of a green screen now.
That's a cool green screen, though.
That's
like we were talking about the trail, like, oh, when they open up the Jeep trails and this and that, and the light ordinance. I'm picturing the sky looking like that. Like, so as Collin's describing, I'm looking at the sky. I'm like, wow, that's probably what it looks like out there. Oh, good stuff. So is it almost that time for that watch giveaway?
Yeah. So what do you think we should do? What do you think we should do, Joe? Oh, Chris says in the comments he's buying.
Hold on. What?
Chris says in the comments he's buying when we go get tacos. Chris, I will take you up on that, sir. Mile High Jeep Club. If we're out there, we're going to get tacos somewhere.
Can I still come, Chris? Chris, can I still come?
If we are out there in Colorado, I am holding you to that. You're taking us to get some tacos. I'm telling you that right now, sir. So you better be prepared for that.
Definitely some beautiful mountains out there.
Oh yeah. Now, if I can figure out how to work this watch band,
Someone just referred to your hair as the long Corona hair. That's
it is the
hilarious.
long Corona hair. That's what it is. I mean, hey, I'm not gonna deny it.
Oh, I love it.
Thankfully,
love
one of the ladies in the office cuts hair, so she might be able to help him out.
Hey,
I
that's
mean,
on the DL. You gotta be quiet.
But then I'm gonna get judged like you got judged when you got your hair cut at an unnamed place, Joe.
You guys don't let your women cut your hair?
No, I'm not letting anybody cut
Come
my
on.
hair. My hair's
COVID cut.
my hair's very specific in how it must be maintained, or else I'm gonna end up bald. And then they really won't put me on the road because they'll be like, Collin, you're just gonna scare people. So we have to come up with a giveaway or some sort for this beautiful watch here. I will sanitize it before I send this to anybody, just so we know. I mean, I will make sure this is clean. This is not going to be like
he's over there touching everything. Like...
No, I will clean this. I will clean the watch before I send it to you. I'll Clorox it fully. But this is...
You'll do all that, but no batteries. I don't...
I'm not a watchsmith. Whatever they're called. I'm not a... Get out my like little screwdrivers, and it's like Toy Story when he has like the eyeglass thing when he's like fixing Woody. Like that's not what I'm gonna do here.
He fixed the...
So, yeah, I'll clean this all up, send it out to somebody. But what do you think we should do for trivia, Joe?
Was that green stitching on there too?
Yeah, green.
Wow, that's pretty.
That kind of nice.
I can't get it to focus on the treads for some reason. It just wants to focus on like.
Well, because your finger's in the way.
I'm trying to get it to adjust because I don't think it likes the black.
Oh, there it is. Oh, it's kind of doing it. Yeah.
I'm a terrible Vanna White.
A good trivia question. Oh, here you go. I don't. What month was Atturo in the Car Chix calendar?
Oh, that was on the stream. So if people remember.
Yes.
Oh.
It's like, wait a minute. What could we?
That's a good one.
What month was Atturo in the Car Chix calendar?
That'll be a good one.
Look at you.
And that'd be actually really hard for them.
That's why we keep him around.
So what month was Atturo the sponsor of the 2020 Car Chix calendar?
Maybe I'll give away more than one watch. I don't know. I might get in trouble for that. Depending on how many people guess this.
Oh, look at you got 2 already. 3.
Oh Jesus.
Oh damn.
I'm gonna get in trouble now.
Whoops.
We got I think
and they're all right.
Can you guys see it? Can you guys see it?
Yeah, Doug, Ryan, and Chris.
And Doug. Whoops.
Nice.
Oh gosh.
I'll send out something at least to all of you. It might not be a watch. Let me see. I mean, we do have quite a bit of watches. I might get in trouble. That I might get a talking to about in the morning, but we'll see.
Wow,
but
people are listening. I'm surprised.
Awesome.
Like,
for anybody who didn't win, I'll go through and pick out a few people to get some goodie bags, whatever, and I'll spend my whole day packing flat rate boxes tomorrow. If you want to get one of these are available on our gear store in both the black, which is what this one is, or the stainless steel.
Yeah.
And they go for $100 on the gear store. So it's a $100 value. Doug, send your watch to somebody else. I will. I'll send it to somebody else. Then why'd you guess, Doug?
Because he knew. That's awesome, though. That's good.
I'll pick somebody else to get yours on your behalf. So if somebody wants to go buy this now, you head over to atturogear.com and you can pick up your own. And we got all sorts of goodies over there. Stickers, knives, watches, keychains, lanyards, koozies. I don't know what else.
And to touch on real fast too, with Jeanette, I know you said you had your special on the carchix.com site.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna throw up your own promo code. So if you go on Car Chix and you use promo code Atturo, you're gonna get 20% off until, how about we do the end of the month?
Perfect.
Thank you.
And let me you're all set up. And so I'll drop it in the comments.
Yeah.
Let's see. carchixstore.com. Use promo code tour to save 20% off until 5/31.
Nice.
There you go.
Thank you for that. That is awesome.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
so
not?
we'll do that.
Yeah.
I should make a generic promo code for Tire Talk on our gear store too to do some sort of discount. I'll get this right one of these days. I don't know, this podcasting thing. This is hard.
And then the last thing too would be on the calendar. If people want to submit something or whatever, when do you start taking submissions for that?
Sure. So we will have, stay tuned to our Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, our website, carchix.com. So we'll make an announcement probably about August, early September, saying exactly what date we're going to have it. Usually we'll open it up like up to a week prior so people can start submitting early. And then we let voting run for about 7 days. And you're not going to be able to miss it. It's crazy. I mean, we used to host it on Facebook, and Facebook, like, we were reaching over 30 million people. Like, we got shut down. Like, it was horrible. It was horrible. Like, I have screenshots from this thing. It was crazy. And so we had to move it to our website. But yeah, carchix.com. You can sign up for our newsletter, like us on Facebook, and shop our store. And we don't just sell stuff for girls. We have stuff for guys too. Our number one sellers are your car was so much faster on Facebook.
That's a good one.
And don't be a dipstick. So I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. Hot rods and dad bods.
Oh damn!
I do like that.
Yeah.
Big
So
proponent of
thanks, guys.
dad bod by Taco. That's what I am over here. That's what
Dad bod by Taco.
I'm waiting one of these days. If a local Mexican restaurant wants to sponsor me, I will rip the Atturo off the Jeep. We'll put whatever Mexican restaurant you want right on the side if it means I can eat there for free. We'll redo the whole wrap.
That is so
Redo
awesome.
the whole wrap. I'll get in trouble for it, but it will be worth it because I'll get all the tacos I want.
That'll be fed.
I'm totally gonna scout out these Mexican restaurants with the obscene names. Be like, here you go, Collin. This is the one.
It's like the people who like
Mucho
it's like the people with their like the Instagrammers who have like cars who reach out to like the condom companies because they just want to put like Durex on their car as like a joke. You don't need any money. I just want you to be able to say that I'm sponsored by you so I could put a big like Trojan sticker on the side of my car. I'm like
That's great.
why? Like I guess you just want to be Instagram famous. That's what everybody wants to do these days.
Oh my god. Isn't it crazy?
That's right. I guess everybody's probably sick and tired. I hope no one's sick. I really do. I hope everyone's just tired.
That's funny.
I hope everyone's healthy and tired of listening to my ramblings for another 2 hours, another week of listening to Collin sit in front of the Aurora Borealis lights and talk about stuff that isn't related to tires on the show that has tire in the name. We did talk about tires though, so we did do good. All right.
On YouTube.
On that note, that will be the end of episode. What is this? Episode 5? I lose track now. This has been 5 weeks of this. It's just all blending. It's just all blending together. This episode, half the time I type the wrong thing in. Yeah. Too many guests. I don't know how they do this. These podcasters. How does Joe Rogan do it? I don't know. The man gets more credit from me after doing all this, but. On that note, everybody, that is our show for week 5 of Tire Talk with Atturo Tires. If you want to follow us, our social media is Atturo Tires on literally everything except for TikTok, but maybe that'll change. But we're not on TikTok.
I want to give it a shot.
Atturo Tires on Twitter. Atturo Tires on LinkedIn. I'm restarting.
Yeah, LinkedIn, Facebook.
We
Twitter,
are on LinkedIn,
YouTube.
but I can't. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, at Atturo Tires. You can find us there. Get all your Atturo gear at atturogear.com and be sure to visit our website at atturo.com to add your vehicle to our gallery. Check out our fitments, check out our new products. The MTS and ATS should be coming out very soon. I know a lot of people are asking about that. I get emails all the time. When is the MTS and ATS coming? We do have still just one size in each, but they're coming. I have on good authority that I heard today that they're coming this summer. Like, they're very good authority. If we can make some room in our warehouse. So keep buying tires so we can make room in the warehouse for it. I'm appreciating all those stimulus checks that are coming our way.
Cha-ching. Oh, sorry.
But on that note, everybody, that is episode 5, and we will see you guys all next time.
Bye, guys.